Okay, 1, 2, 3 test. You probably can hear me. Can you see me now, or am I suspiciously dark? What is happening today? Technical difficulties already. We're starting. And Viridian Games, so glad that you could make it. And congratulations on winning the pop quiz. And yes, I probably should add some new questions. Like I said, I'm collecting new questions, but I don't have that many. And I'm afraid that you will all memorize them within a week or two. Yes, you can see me in the dark. At least that. Okay, you can hear me. So I hope you're not afraid of the dark, because I'm alone in the dark. Where's the darn camera? I have way too many things, way too many sources there in OBS. Logitech, that sounds good. Configure video, that sounds even better. Camera control, exposure -7. That's there we go, -5. Hello everyone. Am I suspiciously bright right now? I hope not too much. Hi everyone, how are you doing? Viridian Games says, I did a game history Jeopardy board for a company event, so I got some questions. Oh, good. Oh, good. I mean, then, of course, you're at an unfair advantage, but then again, so is Frank, because Frank memorized most of the questions. So yes, if you're willing to share, please, I would be very much interested, because the current questions set is, I think, about 200 of them. I haven't counted them, but must be around in the ballpark. And I've already started collecting a new batch, and the first extension to the quiz, so to speak. So that yeah, it's a bit getting a bit long in the tooth, as they say. So hopefully I can add things up for the quiz a little bit, because if you're a long-time viewer, it's not that interesting when it's just, okay, which Japanese composer was Mega Man again, right? Cool. So Commander Stitch is also here. Thank you for dropping by, Commander. Cursibu, as always, thank you so much. Not suspicious, I hope. Yeah, it's you never know here, since I moved to the countryside, and with power outages, especially now during these thunderstorms. Man, we had a crazy week. It was the day before yesterday, and yesterday we had like these huge angry clouds where there was just lightning going on. Like every second there was a flash of lightning, at every 30 seconds or something. A really big one where it just connected somewhere. It was kind of scary, and also very, very intense winds. So it was moving this cloud front all across Austria and subsequent the rest of Europe, on the Northern Alps. And it was scary. It was scary, but if you've been following my socials, I was just super lucky to have caught one of those lightning strikes at the perfect moment. I mean, there was a lot of lightning happening, as I said, and I thought, I have this super slow-mo function on my phone, so maybe if I'm lucky, I catch a flash or two, and I will give this like 20 minutes or so, and if I don't catch one, well, that's it. And seriously, with the first attempt, where I was just pointing outside the window and hit record, and it's just 1 second that you get of super slow motion that's stretched to 30 seconds. And with the very first attempt, I got one that's almost perfect. And I thought, yep, that's good. I will never be this lucky again, probably my whole life. So that's that. So if you have seen this, congratulations, and thank you for following on my socials. Also noticed a new yellow countdown timer. Yes, Cursibu, I'm slowly, very, very slowly in the process of rebranding Film Motion Video to a proper Pixel Prophecy channel. Also to the new Pixel Prophecy logo. Well, new, it's still the unicorn head, but albeit not this muddy green as it was before, but more of this friendly yellow, and with a dark gray background, or vice versa. And as accent color, I want to keep this bright bluish cyan, because for some reason I kind of like what Cyberpunk did with the logo, this yellow, this friendly yellow, and the cyan. I mean, my yellow isn't as biting as that of Cyberpunk, but for some reason I just like the 80s. Beautiful. Yes. Thank you all for dropping by. As you've probably noticed, this is a rather unusual time for me to do streaming. I just want to catch up, because last weekend I didn't have the time. I just couldn't, because I had such an intense week, and also took a remote teaching job at the Bavarian Academy for Film Studies or something, or something I should know, but I don't know how well it translates to English. Anyway, and I taught a 2-day workshop on color grading. Good thing was that it was remote. So I was just sitting at home. What I forgot in the time frame was to tell this to my employer. So at the same time that I was teaching, at the same day, I had to do a full shift of color grading for work. And then on the next day, starting from 10 a.m., which is very early for me, I had to do another color grading course because it's on Friday and Saturday. And yeah, it was overall one 7 hours and the other was 5 hours or something with breaks. It came in around 10-11 hours, and I was super wasted. And on Sunday yeah, my body was not really shutting down. That's an over exaggeration, but I just felt the fatigue. But today is a very special day because it's a bank holiday in Austria, which means I had the day off so that I could go with Connie, that we had a nice afternoon in the cafe. I had ice cream, which always helps, and way too much coffee. So this is why I am here, and hopefully I can do a stream also on Sunday this week. We will see. But I'm just so glad that it propagated among my social channels that I'm not here talking to myself because no one noticed that I'm streaming today. Thank you so much. Woo, holiday. Yes, I'm all for holidays. But tomorrow we have... I mean, it's Friday, it's a regular working day, but I mean, it's between a bank holiday and the weekend. In German, we call this a window day, which means no one really works or tries to skip work or books a holiday on this day. And I don't, because I know those days are the most chill of them all. You get paid for a regular workday, but no one's there, no one's bothering you. You can really take your time, stay in the zone, and be super unbothered at work, and have actually almost half a holiday at work sometimes, because I can just watch movies or listen to podcasts while I'm working. So it's quite okay, I would say. And I save my vacation days for the most stressful time of the year when I sorely need them. Right. What do I want to do today? Where do you want to go today? I just recalled this Microsoft slogan from the 90s. And yes, we're back at good old film mode, which is just getting derailed by tangents. Now, today I want to talk about tool development because I've always joked that at the heart, I'm a tools developer, and it really I had a tools binge lately, or especially this year, and I just want to talk a little about making tools for yourself, and what is something that you usually or oftentimes come across, and yeah, just things from my perspective on tools programming and how it goes for me, and I just share with you what I use for my tools. And it might not be a programming language any of you have ever heard of. But yeah, I think if there aren't any more questions, oh my God, I'm still in the teaching mode. Are there any questions? No? Anyone needs to go to the bathroom? No? Then off we go. Right, first, I want to share with you the tool that I created in the past 2 weeks. And for that, probably... I have to share my beautiful desktop with you. Yay, mouse pointer. People have told me that I have the most drab background there is. It's really just 10% gray. But again, this is hello colorist, and anything colorful in the background is distracting. Also, of course, you're not dreaming of a beautiful beach somewhere in Tahiti or Hawaii that you're constantly looking at. No, it's just, this background says, get to work, nothing to see here. Cursibus has question, anyone else doing the GMTK Game Jam tomorrow? Oh yes, of course, good. Thank you for the reminder. Game Maker's Toolkit. I think that's the highest profile game jam out there, because Mark Brown is really something when it comes to rallying game developers and also showcasing people with super interesting concepts. So if you haven't, please check out the GMTK, yes, Game Maker's Toolkit Game Jam. So I think it's hosted on itch.io as well. I'm not sure, but thank you for announcing and reminding, Cursibu. Are you taking part, and any of you also? And what are your ideas or anything in particular that you want to create? Because there's also, I think, a new LD Jam around the corner-ish right now. And KukaDev is also here. I'll participate with Lux Engine, got into the closed beta recently and will be a nice opportunity to tinker with. Oh, that's cool. Congratulations on getting the beta invite. Did you have to be invited, or was it just, yeah, send the devs an email and off you go, as it was with Diablo 4? Because the Lux Engine, what is the Lux Engine? I've never heard of this before, and I thought I have a rather broad knowledge of game engines. But now that when I'm speaking out loud, I just realized probably I don't. I just have the feeling that I do. Kersibu says, I want to try the jam using Godot 4.3, which released today. Oh, I haven't. I should be more on Twitter. No one said ever in the past 2 years, but I didn't know that Godot 4.3 released. So hopefully there's more mobile support than for C#. I think that's the one thing most of the people are waiting for with the latest Godot version. Let's do something with this background here, and let me show you my latest tool that is here, the Pixel Project. It has a console, because I like it when things have a console, and it has this window here. I should probably zoom in and tell you what this is about. So yeah, the Pixel Project it essentially is for me to create not a server template. It's a file structure template. Essentially, I have a template folder for video projects with everything already set up there, like my Premiere project for the editing, all the folders there, even scripts that do, for example, separate the channels of audio files, that I can just run a batch file which does it, and also have even templates for script writing in there and everything. And I thought it would be nice if I just can use this template folder and specify a target folder. Let's do a target folder here. Let's call it new, because then when I switch here away from this, then it says the project target new is working, or is. When this LED is green, then it means the folder exists and the tool will run, otherwise it won't. Yeah, the cool thing about this is that, before that, I was using a program called Post Haste, which does exactly that, where you can have certain tokens in your file names or folder names, and it would replace them as it would create your template. But over the years, I realized that it didn't do some things that I really wanted it to do, and which are very special to my needs. So yeah, as it turns out in the end, where programmers, right? It's like, this tool doesn't do what I want it to do. Maybe I can somehow finagle it and cajole it into doing what I want to do. And after tinkering with it, you throw in your head and think, geez, I probably have to do it myself, because then it's better. It does everything that I want it to do. And that's exactly what's happening here. So what have I missed in the chat? Limonard says, most of the people who use C# who code for mobile. Yeah, that's true. I mean, if you do C# and code for mobile, you probably with Unity anyway. Does Unity compile for mobile when you're using C#? But yeah, thank you for putting me straight, Limonard. Yeah, what my tool does is also this token replacement. I can show you here my token info, so that I can use this token, $, tilde, then the token name, and tilde again. But the cool thing about my tool is, or which the thing that I needed or wanted, was that it doesn't only do it for folder names and file names, but it also does it inside of files. For example, with Premiere files, I can say that, for example, my edit has always the name of the project code, for example. And this works now with my tool, because it opens the Premiere file, changes, looks through if there are any of these tokens in the Premiere file, even changes the paths linking to it, or any paths that link into the template will link into the created project, which is again super cool. And I don't have to worry about anything from that on, because with Post Haste before, I had to start copying my video project folder, and then just go through it and still do some renamings. And now everything, even down to the text files or string replacements in batch files for my tools, everything is linking where it should link, which is super cool. And yes, Unity compiles for mobile. Okay, I wasn't sure, but this is, by the way, this is the one thing I really like about Unity compared to, let's say, Game Maker, is with Unity you have this essentially one click, and you also can deploy on Mac, you can go Linux, and it's really, you don't have to have a Mac around, which is the deal breaker for me for Game Maker, because apparently, I'm not sure if that's still the case, but the last time I looked, Game Maker stated that you only are allowed to compile to Mac if you own a Mac device that you can compile to where Xcode runs on. And this, yeah, this is always for me a deal breaker, because I'm not buying a iMac or something just that I can put my few games on itch.io that I can port them to Mac. And with Unity, it's possible. Same in Godot, except consoles. Yeah, console support, I would assume, is something different, because that's proprietary stuff and Godot and so on. But I think if you have a cool project on Godot and really have a publisher, or let's say there is a big incentive to bring it onto consoles, I think there are ways to do this. I've heard, I don't know of any of those, so I can't help you out there. Yeah, so my project, for example, I can also say, I can use, as here my tooltip says, I can also use tokens here in the file name. So for example, when I say $tilde $YYY, oh, I'm still having the wrong keyword layout, YYY tilde, and this does not exist. But when I, sorry, my mouse is trapped, oh no. So here is the folder when I'm creating this 2024 folder inside here. Let's zoom in again. Then it probably should say it exists. Okay, bug, because then it should turn green. Anyway, good old programming. It's probably 1.0.25 until every last bug is sorted. Anyway, but what my project name usually is, as you can see here, it has here the date code, the project number, that's just a serial for each year. So this would be my 30th project for this year. Then I have here my production codes for behind the scenes or code review or educational or feature or Ludum Dare. And of course the project name, which is the nice name, which gets kebabized. That's also I've learned here for the key. So this is whenever I'm using this key here of project, it gets replaced with this thing, whatever I have here. And another thing that I'm that I always feel that so many tools are lacking is just convenience. For example, when you're alt tabbing or just tabbing through everything, that really is in a sensible manner what you highlight. And also when I'm here with a number and I go up and down on the keyboard, that it just increments or decrements the number. This is really something that irks me, or that I can go here and it wraps around these lists, for example. So all these little things that I usually miss in other tools, I just thought, hey Phil, I treat you to this, so that this works. And this is the cool part, that I can say I want to replace tokens in Scrivener files or RTF text files or even Premiere projects, or relinking paths in batch files. So if I set this to on, and you know what, let's call this project number 32. This is a MISC project, and let's call this stream demo. There we go. And this will land in Phil desktop/new. And I will zoom out, and when I hit generate, lots of things are happening there in the console, and once it's done, it opens the folder for me, and that's it. And the console tells me what happened. For example, here with the Photoshop thing where it says stream demo code review thumb, or the faking off thumb, or generic YouTube thumbnail, but it always has here this production code. And here it tells me, for example, in Premiere files, which keys inside, or in this case, project paths, it changed. Or we can see here that on line 58,280, there was the token, probably for my main edit name, where it was just called project edit, and it replaced it there with my key. With the token with the key. Yeah, I think that's how you say it. And yeah, just lists out all the changes that it does or did. And I'm it's just this one-click solution for me, which is super, super relieving, because now I have here the folder with everything, and you can see here it has even the stream demo.txt. This is usually my YouTube template, and it even has here the nice name of it, where it's just linking to stuff. Let me close this. Or as I've shown you, the Premiere file links to everything. And for example, here in my source footage, and if I'm recording live action and have my external audio recorder, maybe I want to split my wave channels just to the left channel, because when I'm recording with a external microphone, the microphone is just mono, but the recorder is stereo. So I have mono and stereo, and mono in stereo, and just have one channel that's empty. So what I usually do is just I split the wave channel to the left channel and get rid of the right channel and save half of the file size. And because this is just a simple batch file that I double click, it doesn't need to do, it doesn't have any manual overhead. And if I look into this batch file, just to quickly show you, then here it uses the SOX, that is sound audio exchange. It's probably not so. It's an audio converter that runs in the command line. And as you can see here, it automatically changed it to be in the new directory. So everything is self-contained. All my these command line things that are necessary for my batch tools that are littered out throughout here my project template, they all can be found here in tools. And there is FFmpeg, there's my GoPro renamer, that's another tool of mine. There's MLV dump for Magic Lantern files from my photo camera. And there is this SOX that is the sound exchange. And also have here the commands and the version and example and so on and so forth. So all my tools that I need, like I said, everything is now self-contained. And what is cool, because it also does the same thing with Premiere files. Premiere files, those are edit files, and they also link to certain stock assets that I have, like the credit scroll is always based on the same template or layout as is, for example, some of the audio files that are there. And usually what I realized much too late was everything that I did before with the other tool, with Post Haste, on the Premiere files, of course, they were linking back into the template folder. So when I moved the template folder, suddenly like all of my edits had missing assets. I mean, the assets were of course there in the folder structure, but the references inside the Premiere file were still pointing at the template. And so yeah, this was the final straw when I realized that this was happening. And so I wrote the Pixel project, and I'm always mistyping it. And like I said, now it works. It's really just this one-click thing, takes a couple of seconds, and everything is sorted. And it goes, like I said, it goes deep into files. For example, here in the docs where I have scripts, and I use Scrivener usually to write my files, and I have here for the screenplay or the documentary. Let's go into screenplay. Again, it has here replaced the project name, and when I open this Scrivener template, it starts out here with stream demo, the project name, and first draft started, and that's the today's date. And again, I can just start writing here. And like I said, it's the small things that save you so much time, especially when you need this. I've been doing this for years, that I just typed in manually and copied this and copied that, and now it's just really I realized with so often before, I should have done the tool in the first place. But then again, when you start writing a tool and you don't really know what you need it for, it's also bad. Actually, it's really it's a catch-22. I mean, you want to start with a tool not to waste any time with inferior processes, but then again, you need to have other processes in place that you know what you actually want or what you need for your workflow. Right. What have I missed? Limonade says you'd have to pay some company like W4 to get your own dev kit. Oh yeah, for Godot. Yeah, that makes sense. Like I said, with Godot and everything open source, this doesn't play ball with any corporate and proprietary things like consoles. Crucible says a nice tool idea and even has proper GUI. Yeah, the GUI. The most fun is coming up with icons, right? So yeah, those are actually just images that you can click and and it does its thing. Because yeah, you can see here, I have even here a reset to default, where here this gets replaced with the current year, for example. So when we're in 2025 and I reset to default, this one will point to 2025. One other thing that always irks me is when you have user settings. I mean, if I quit this now and start it again, it should have automatically saved everything. Yes, here we are back at stream demo, and it has here the project target and all the things that we checked, all the checkboxes. And what usually irks me is when you have user settings like this, they are kept in some sort of registry key, and when you move to a different computer, everything is gone. And it's just a hassle to get your user settings synchronized, because some are just user independent, which name you logged on to Windows. And I've come back to the good old ini file, because there's the exe file, it's 1.8 megabytes, and there's the ini file right next to it, which is sensibly called Pixel Project Settings. And the other thing is, when you double click this is how the ini file looks, because again, I know from experience, nothing is worse when you finally find an ini file and it's all keys that really don't tell you a lot what they are. And so I thought, yeah, I have everything that my program reads in this ini file. If I change it here, for example, my defaults for the default date code, right now it's Pixel Prophecy and 2 digits of the year. I can change it here. Or you can see here the default project name compound template is date code dash project number dash production code dash project name, right? And all these keys, I can move them around as how I want them. And also it even saves the window position here. So when I'm this just sits in my Dropbox, and when I'm on my laptop, it syncs. This is 1 kilobyte, the settings. So I always have the latest settings. But when I'm on my notebook and suddenly I've moved, for example, on my 3 huge screens, I moved this around where it's the coordinates are negative or something, and I open this on my notebook and suddenly this window doesn't show, I can just go into the project settings and delete, for example, this here, and it should start here at 100 pixels from each corner. And yeah, and that's that. Limbonaut says, I guess you're not writing these files by hand, so why not verbose? Which files? The ini files, you mean? This one here, my intention was, when you as an unassuming user open this up, you know what actually everything means. And it's not like dtemplate RT45 or something. So it's really something that you can easily read, and it even saves here which version and which build this ini file was made. Yeah, talking about how this was made, I let you guess, and you're probably wrong unless I've told you before which programming language I used for this, because it's ancient. It was the first programming language I ever bought. It was like 39 euros back in 22 or 21 even or something. And it's a French programming language, and it comes from this tradition of the 1990s, where people thought they need to reinvent BASIC, like Dark BASIC and Blitz BASIC and whatever BASIC. The one that I bought was PureBasic, because you can make games with it. It even comes with a 3D engine, the Ogre 3D engine. That's an open source 3D engine. And yeah, it's feel the pure power, because it's French. It's French, but it's being developed from 1998 till 2023 by Fantasy Software. And the cool thing is, like I said, it's a bit old and clunky, but it's super fast. The executables files are super small that it produces. It's a bit clunky, and it's still basic at the end of the day, but I like it much more when I'm writing these kinds of tools, this functional language. So let me open my recent project. Why is it not there? Oh, because I reset my computer. Programming PureBasic 2024 Pixel Project. There we go. And as you can see, it even has here a built-in form editor, and this is how I got this UI to work. The form editor, PureBasic, is proud to announce that it was made with PureBasic, and even the IDE of PureBasic was made with PureBasic. So it also, by the way, it also compiles to Linux, the same source code, which is super cool. If you have a Linux distribution running and get my source code, you can just compile it for Linux. This is how the program code looks like. Let's make this a bit bigger. So you see here, it's all procedures, and just here at the very bottom, there is just the main loop. So we open the console, and then it just waits for window events and processes the window events. And the window events here also are specified here in the form. So for example, when I select this button here, which means just to open the folder, I have here in the properties, I can here write the tooltip, and I have the event procedure. And the event procedure is here in my main project. From this procedure, okay, when I'm clicking this, then this event is called. And essentially that's all there is to it. Everything happens here in just these events. It's just a number of procedures that return stuff or changes gadgets, and that's it. You can see here in my load preferences procedure there, I got just lots of constants here and default values. And the cool thing is, with ini files, I can just say read preferences string, and it knows, okay, it's from an open ini file, or of the currently open ini file, or opened ini file in the currently open group in this ini file, and then it just reads it, for example. So the only downside, of course, is it feels a little bit old. It's still basic, and things there are some things that I need to get used to. For example, when you're doing comparisons, do I have something? Replace path reference. Yeah, you would think this is strong. If find string in string global source root equals 0. Wait a second. This is if, and there's just one equals sign. So which means this is an assignment, not a check. And yep, that's how it is in PureBasic. So this is actually the proper way to do things. It's if you write this, you get an error and it won't work. So you really have to think differently. Or for example, if you want to say something is not 0, you can write not, but the good old exclamation point equal sign does not work. Not work. So instead of this, you just make a less than greater than sign to define not. And you know, all these little peculiarities, or with every if, you need to have an end if somewhere. There's no concept of curly brackets in this one. And also the same thing is for switch statements, which are just select statements. You need to have at least one case. You don't need a break. So each case breaks automatically after it has been processed, and lots of these little things. So I would probably not recommend when you're starting out programming today to start with PureBasic, because it's just so much so differently in things than other languages, where it's just only PureBasic does it, or probably maybe some other basic dialects. But again, this is probably not something that you want to spend time on learning. I mean, since I've been doing this for over 20 years on and off, I know about these things, and also the help files, usually also with examples, they're very good. But overall, it's quite something. Let's see what the chat says. Never seen PureBasic, says Curse. Yeah, I wouldn't assume you have. Limbonaut says, wow, I wonder what are the dependencies, because Linux is quite tricky when it comes to binary compatibility. Good question. I think they just claim it works on Linux. The fun thing is, until a couple of versions back, instead of Linux, it would compile to Amiga, which is, I find, super quaint. So PureBasic, what's the website? PureBasic.com. So let's have a look at PureBasic.com. Since we're on the topic, there we go. So features, Windows, Linux, OS X, and Raspberry, ARM 32-bit and 64-bit support. Isn't this cool? No external DLLs, runtime interpreter, or anything else required when creating executables. And the cool thing is you can even include assembly, where you can just say, okay, these statements are just in pure x86 assembly. Of course, probably when you want something to run on a Raspberry Pi, you wouldn't use x86 assembly, but for Windows, for example. And again, it has this 2D and 3D support, because I bought it when I wanted to make games back then. But since then, I've mostly used it for these kinds of command line and GUI tools. Tutvari is here. Hey Tutvari, thank you for dropping by. I'm just showing off this PureBasic, this super ancient programming language that still gets updated, and like I said, I like a lot. Cursipo says, reminds me of Pascal and Delphi. Only seen it, never used myself. I have done things in Delphi back in, what was it, 97, 98. And the things I made with Delphi were, I think, just media players, because I was just so lucky to have figured out that you can have a play button and define an image as a stop button. And I made just various kinds of media players where the buttons were ice cubes, or the buttons were Star Trek L-Cars themed, that sort of thing. So that's what I did with Delphi back then. But yes, Limonaut says, so you can cross-compile, that is, you can compile Linux version on Windows, right? I don't think so. I think you have to be on Linux to compile to Linux. Or does it say it here specifically? Source code it says here, source code is portable between Windows, Mac OS X, Linux, and Raspberry. So you probably need to have a PureBasic for Linux, run it on a Linux distribution, I don't know which one, and compile it there, and then probably it should work. But no, I can't do this from inside Windows. Yeah, as we've seen, this tool here has a GUI, which again is sometimes a bit problematic, because here, this form editor, what it actually does is it presents me the code it automatically writes when I'm positioning gadgets here. It just displays me how they look like and what properties they are, because I can switch the form. I can from the design view to the code view, and this is how this window looks here in the code view. The downside of this is when I'm doing changes here in the code, when I switch back to the design view always overrides the code view, and it's a little bit glitchy and buggy. For example, when I'm changing anything in the design view, suddenly the reset to default event procedure just vanishes, like it has right now. There is no event procedure here for default. So each time before compiling, I have to go template default, because I know that's what it's called, and do the same thing here for project target, whereas say not that, target default, and be done with it. The other thing is that all the images that I have, it references bitmap files or PNG files on disk. But again, I want this to be self-contained, so I have manually to add here at the very end my data section, where I'm just including the binary data of all the PNGs, and then just exchange the files from the form. Otherwise, if the images are not found where the program expects it, and right now they're just sitting inside my Dropbox somewhere, it will crash. So again, it's these little things that you have the couple of loops you have to hoops you have to jump through to get it working on independently, so to speak. But it's a little bit better when you're doing command line tools with this, because that's the other cool thing with PureBasic. You can make games, 2D games, even 3D games with it for Windows and apparently Mac and Linux. But I use it often to create my command line tools. Let me show you if I have one. GameMaker Project Incrementer. Yeah, that one, for example. This is a similar tool. Source, the project incrementer. So essentially what this does is when this is my version of version control. So I'm not using GitHub, because apparently that's not very reliable, as we've seen in the past days. So instead, I'm just copying the current project with GameMaker that I have and just increment certain numbers. And this is what this command line tool does. You can launch it from the command line and then pass it some arguments. And depending on which arguments you've passed it, it does certain things. In this case, it not just increments the version number in the file name and then the folder name, but also looks at any sort of build numbers that are found inside the project where you can say with GameMaker, yeah, this is build number so and so. This also auto increments and so on and so forth. Again, I'm a tool head apparently. And the other thing is for command line programs, I think last year, Archive 23, GoPro Series Renamer. That's this thing here. When I compile it, of course, it does nothing because it's a command line program and it doesn't stay open by itself. So when you don't pass it anything, it just closes itself. But what this does is, for example, when you're shooting with a GoPro and the file size exceeds, what was it, 2 gigabytes, and then it creates a new file in the series. The thing is, of course, you would assume that all the files are named sensibly. So when I'm shooting an overlong clip and it consists of like 3 files, that they are called sensibly, that you have the first file, the second file, and the third file. And then when you shoot the next series, that it's sorted there after that. This is not the case with the default GoPro naming, and I can't figure out why. So I thought, yeah, especially when I'm doing editing with GoPro files, I want them to be in the order that I shot them in, or yeah, that the series are just kept together. And this is what this GoPro renamer does. And you can see here, yeah, as always, I tend to polish and go out of my way. So here, this procedure is just called art, and it draws this little thing here. This you hardly can see it, but it's a GoPro made of ASCII art. You know what? I can show you what this looks like, because in my project template, I have this GoPro renaming thing. So where is it? Source footage, live action, GoPro, and there I have a batch file that just says rename GoPro files. And when I start this. Oh, this is still the old version. I see no GoPro files found at specified path, aborting. Okay, so this is the old cover art. So apparently, I need to update my template because this links to the wrong file. Where does it link to? GoPro renamer, and this is probably not the latest version there. Good to know. And now that I just update my template and of course then have the latest version one. So where can I find the latest version? Well, it's on pixelprophecy.com/stuff. And under tools, there is the GoPro file renamer. And this is version 1.01 from last year. I've updated it almost a year ago. And yeah, this is how it looks there in the command line. And depending on the command line arguments you pass it changes the files accordingly. Just the file names, and does a verbose output of what it actually does. And as with all tools, this is what I want to get into a little bit. There's certain things that constantly keep cropping up, at least in the tools that I write for myself. Namely, those things are reading files and writing files and changing text inside files and that sort of thing. Looks like a unicorn in code. And as you've seen, exactly that's what it is. Because I like ASCII art. And it's always nice when you launch a tool. For example, there is a file date bulk syncer that I made. This is also written in PureBasic. And essentially, you can just drag and drop a file there and say, yeah, all the other files just inherit its created, modified, and accessed date, for example. This I used when I was doing my backups and just had some files from, I don't know, 1998. They were just bitmap files, and I converted them to PNG because they cost much less storage space, but wanted, of course, to keep the created, modified, accessed times of the original file because archived. So I wanted to know, for example, when I drew this badly done caricature of Captain Picard and saved it as PNG. I did not do this, but of course, sometimes you go back and I think I did something like this in 98. So when exactly was this? This is why I have here my FDBS, my file date bulk syncer version 0.01. So yeah, I've written my share of my own tools over the years, and yeah, also here I like to have this little ASCII art unicorn in there. One thing that I just did was I closed the console, and which crashes the program. Which, I mean, you want to have this anyway, that when you close the console, it also closes the program. But for some reason, I don't know what happened, because when I do the same here with my file date bulk syncer, it closes the program as it should and not crashes it. But yeah, those just are the little things. So the other tools that I have are kind of similar, but I use them for work. They are my post tools. And yeah, this is my Fields Post Tool Suite version 1.0. And this is for work. So for example, when I have time code, a list of time codes, where, for example, a client has some notes for you because you're working on a video and they use the time codes, and you want to import this. In my case, I want to import this into DaVinci Resolve because that's the program where I'm working in. And I can just copy and paste their time code ranges and say, refresh, and then it creates here an EDL file, an edit decision list that I can just import in Resolve. It also can say, yeah, the frame rate is 30 frames and I want the labels to be pink or purple. This is pink and just give it a certain name. The same thing I can do with frames to resolve markers, because some programs like FFmpeg output, okay, there has been an error at frame 2932, and you go, okay, I'm not counting frames. I just want to plop a marker wherever there is a frame mentioned. And this is what this tool does. It just looks at the input, and if there is the word frame or just a number that is not part of another has not letters in front of it, so it's a standalone integer number, then it will be treated as a frame and then placed a marker there. So you probably see what what most of my tools do. They just read a string, do some regular expressions on it, and then the output something. For example, here I have a Dolby Vision XML file, and again I want to set the edit points according to this Dolby Vision XML file. Then I can just specify the clip name even and create an EDL out of this, and this works. Or have a drop frame report where I can just drop the FFmpeg log in here, and it outputs a list that I can import into Resolve. And I can even force conform Resolve clips, but again it says here warning, and the workflow is, again, this is a lot of things that you have to do manually that my tool works, because I wrote this under duress because I was doing a project at work that was consisted of 2,000 clips, and from one day to the next they wouldn't link to the original file anymore. And the file was there, it just Resolve refused to link it. What I could do inside Resolve was click the clip, right click and say force conform with current selection in media pool. But I had to do this on a per clip basis. I couldn't do this, I couldn't select multiple clips and say just force conform it with the new file or with the old file in the location that it's currently at. You don't do this for 2,000 files. If you do this, as we say in German, you turn into a mushroom, which means it's not worth it. So in the end, I wrote this tool and this description of how to do it, because in Resolve, you need to export the project, and Resolve itself saves everything as a PostgreSQL database. And then if you export a project, it serializes it out into a bouquet of XMLs and compresses that into a zip file. So a lot of things that are happening here is just finding UUIDs and matching them across others, because this is, when you re-import it, this is how Resolve knows which parts of the database a certain clip belongs to, or what its reference in the database is, which of course is not very human legible. But in the end, this programming this tool cost me an evening and saved me since then, in two projects, probably hours, many hours of just right click and force conform to this, right click, force conform to this. It's a three-step process, but it works. And those are the tools that I write for myself. Essentially, it's mostly to spend a lot of time writing the tool and then subsequently save me time that I don't have to do any of these things manually anymore. And yeah, let's have a look at the chat. And just the automated unicorn reminded me to have some water. If you can't tell, I had a lot of coffee tonight, or even today. So what are the things that come up constantly? And let's head back to PureBasic, because even here I have a template for writing. Where is it? Incrementer, bin, source. Yeah, a command line project template, which already has a couple of functions in there. And the functions are mainly just reading command line parameters, listing the help. It's just printing lines where it just lays out what each argument does. Printing the art, which is very important. This is the first thing that happens when I open my console. And having here various kinds of, when you say log success, it either prints by default success or just changes the console color to green or yellow or red. Or when you say shutdown, right now we're not debugging. It's not debugging, it's e-bugging. For example, when you say, okay, I want to quit this, then please save all the preferences to a file or something. And this is my template. But what happens most of the time is dealing with files, of course. And it's most of the time it's opening text files, reading text files, interpreting or rather parsing text files, and then doing string comparisons and string replacements. Sometimes there's XML files, which means then I need to parse them as XML files and have everything as a data structure, as this tree data structure. And one thing that came up here with my Pixel project was that certain file types need to have let's start differently. So when I'm reading in, for example, an RTF file, I read it in as a text file and write it out as a new text file. And I just compare line by line. Is there a token? Then replace the token in the string. If there is not, just copy the line and write the same line to a new file. This is how my text replacement goes. But the thing, for example, with RTF files, they cannot be UTF-8. They need to be ANSI files, and of course also have a certain line break character. You probably know it that in ASCII there are two different line break characters. If I switch them on, that's the LF, that's the line feed, and then there's the carriage return. That's ASCII code 10 and 13, I think. And with Unix, I think it's just the line feed, and with Windows, it's line feed and carriage return. And you wouldn't think of it that much, right? It's just when you hit enter in a software, it does this thing. But depending on what encoding you're on, maybe your text editor makes some assumptions on what the line breaks should look like. And certain file formats like RTF are super picky with that. And this cost me half an evening to figure out why all my RTF files were broken, for example. And Frank says parsing is hard. Yes. I always try to come up with the one regular expression to rule them all. And regular expressions. If they aren't your friend, please acquaint yourself with regular expressions. Because I've noticed, I was afraid of regular expressions because they feel like so impenetrable from the outside. Where it's like, for those who don't know regular expressions, essentially it's just trying to match a certain string that has certain conditions. And these regular expressions can be super complex things. For example, let's have a look at this here. When I want, for example, to select in this code block all these things here that start with ini. So then I would write a regular expression that says, okay, if a line starts with any number of characters and then follows an opened parentheses, parenthesis, singular, I don't know what the singular is, an open bracket, right? And when the next character is this pound sign and it starts with ini, then match everything that is after this bracket until the first comma. And then there could be something at the end of the line, there could not be. What is important is that please capture this group. And these are regular expressions. Then of course, then you would say, okay, this line is a match, and you have even a matching group. You can define multiple groups. For example, when you want to reuse certain things. And in our case, example case, I would say I want to reuse this. And then I can write a different string and put this matching group. This is essentially just like a variable that I can put anywhere in the output string that I want. And these are regular expressions. If you want to learn or toy with the regular expressions, there is this cool thing called regex101.com. And this is my number one 101 go-to for doing regular expressions. So for example, let's copy just these things here. And let's say what I just did. So in my regular expression, it works like this. So any number of characters, that's a dot, which means no or more than no characters until we come to the first bracket. Because the bracket is a matching group, I need to say backslash bracket. And you can see here, okay, it already tells me that we have a match for this. And then I can say I want to open a group, start with a pound, with a hash pound sign, then with ini, and then underscore. Then any number of characters until the first comma. And then I close my matching group. And then at the end, there still can be one or more or no more characters. Does this make sense? So the preceding token is not quantifiable. Oh yeah, I need to have a dot. And now you can see here, this is now my matching group. It's the pound sign, but also with the comma. If I, for example, wanted the comma outside, then I need to take it outside. There we go, and now it's outside. So those are regular expressions. And writing these things here, when you're not used to this is freaking intimidating. So this is why there are many cool things here about regex 101, for example, where you can say, okay, a single character or a character except a CB or characters from A to Z and also capital letters from A to Z. And all these kinds of tokens really are explained here. So I've learned really to love regular expressions over the years because they come up so often when you need to do batch file renaming, when you want to look a text file for a certain kind of match like we have here. These things are my daily bread and butter when it comes to tool writing. Have you ever, says Frank, seen that regular expressions to validate an email address? Chris says, you mean a dot plus add, right? Okay, I've never seen this, but let's... Holy cow. Holy cow. Now, I'm afraid of regular expressions again. It's by Paul Warren from 2012, and probably no one ever looked at this. I would assume that this is doing all sorts of covering special cases. But Cursibo, I like your regular expression. So if there is an add sign in between, at least a character on the left side and a character on the right side, we're good. Oh my god, this is intimidating. This is really intimidating. But thank you for sharing. God. Frank says, turns out an email address syntax is A, slightly more complicated than many people think, and B, not designed with regular expressions in mind. Oh God, why something as ubiquitous as email addresses? But okay, good to know. But this is the RFC allows comments to be arbitrarily nested. A single regular expression cannot cope with this. The Perl module pre-processes email addresses to remove comments before applying the mail reg. Holy cow. Oh dear, and it's Perl. Yeah, I will click this away. Chris says, if you want something more powerful but less compressed, consider parsing expression grammar. I have no idea what PEG is, but thank you for sharing. So yeah, regular expressions, for how long have they been around? For quite a while now. I think, didn't they come from the 70s, or am I out on a limb right here? But they have been around for a long time, and it took me 40 years almost to finally feel halfway confident to using them. But yeah, for programming, when you think you know how to write regular expression, I always go to regex 101. It's like debugging your regular expression. And because sometimes you think you have a match and you don't, because you forgot to escape a certain character or something, or forgot to close a certain matching group, that kind of thing. Frank says, I think the current form dates back to the 1970s. Yeah, right. It's relatively old. Limbonaut says they should make a competition of trying that from visual reference. Yeah, regular competition expression. Regular expression competition. That sounds fun. Yeah, by the way, you can even say here your different flavors of regular expressions, because of course there are different flavors of regular expressions. But the cool thing is PureBasic does support regular expressions, and GameMaker does not. And this is really something where I really like GameMaker, but doing string replacements with GameMaker is really a hassle. For example, I wrote my own opening script or interpreter for very simple YAML files with GameMaker. And it wasn't as easy or fun to do than it would have been if I had the power of regular expressions with it. So again, just to recap, tools programming and writing and reading files don't never work with the original file that you're copying or that you want to work with. Always back up the original file, just rename it to .bak or something in my case, or when you create a new file, just rename it to temp. That in case something goes wrong, especially when you think you're done and your project or program is production ready, always never mess with original files. Always keep for the user. So just in case your program messes up, always keep a backup. This I also learned the hard way. That for some reason I deleted a folder, but no, it deleted the folder recursively, and also the folder wasn't there where I thought it was. And when suddenly you have a recursive automatic folder deletion that somehow lands at C:/, and then your tool maybe even started in administrator mode, and then it will start to delete your operating system. In my case, I'm on Windows, so I have safeguards here. But if you're on Linux, well, Linux says you want to delete the operating system while you're running it. Lol, go ahead. So yeah, that's Linux. So again, always test and always make backups of all the files that you edit, unless of course you're feeling daring. In my case, since I'm just copying with my Pixel project, I'm just copying a template folder and I'm recreating. I'm just file copying. I'm not destroying any original files, but for example with the GoPro renamer, it's renaming files. So essentially it makes a copy of the file. Then I think it renames the original file, then renames the copied file, and then just makes sure that both files are the same, and only then deletes the original file. I think that's how I implemented it, because yeah, never destroy anything. Then the next thing is, of course, when you write text files and ASCII files, be sure that you write in the file format supported thing. When you work with some structured ASCII file formats like HTML or YAML or XML or JSON, I preach now, don't interpret them as text file and just run a regular expression with search and replace, because you might even eat into, I don't know, indenting with YAML files, or your regular expression might eat up a comma and suddenly your JSON is not valid anymore. So instead I would say parse them as data structures, then change it properly in the data structure what you want to change, and then write out, serialize your data structure into the format like YAML or JSON that you have, that you need in the end. The cool thing is, of course, if this is supported, your reader should be your writer more or less should be compliant to the standards. So when you can parse an XML file, chances are that you also can write a valid XML file that will go through with all validation steps, right? But again, if you replace just when you treat these files as text files and just run a regular expression, you could break things. And this probably is one of the things that why I'm using these weird, strange dollar, tilde, and then the name in all caps and tilde again. Why I'm using these keys? Because, for example, if I'm doing replacements in PHP and I have things we're starting with dollar and then uppercase, maybe I have a file where I have inside the file already dollar project. And then, of course, it would replace this programming source code with suddenly here my keys that I don't want to. So yeah, I spent relatively long to come up or settle with a way of having this kind of tokens, of token keys that are ASCII compliant, that they work without any UTF-8 or additional code pages, but also work on various work for file names, work for folders, work inside of files. Of course, it's not 100% foolproof, but at least for the files that I use, I never used in my life before this way, dollar tilde, keyword tilde again for defining anything. So I should be good here. Thank you, Frank, for deleting whatever they were there. I've read somewhere that YouTubers or streamers nowadays use the word mods, like royalty in the medieval times would utter the word guards. So when someone shows up here and I say, mods, show this person our deepest dungeon, it's the same thing as guards, throw them into the tower. Why are you running things as root, says Frank. Why shouldn't I? It's the easiest thing to do, because then I don't have to worry about not having permissions, of course. It's the smart thing to do, right? I mean, I'm on Windows, so in the end it doesn't matter for me, but yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, you probably shouldn't run things as root. Chrisbu says, don't treat XML as text files to find replace. Definitely never done that before. Of course, none of us has. And I mean, usually, if you know what you're doing, you should be fine. But if it's I don't know, a scheme or what's it, a schema, we say in German, of an XML file that is like you haven't seen before. And when you search and replace something that could or could not also be a key somewhere inside this XML file, I think once or twice it happened with these XML files that come from Resolve. That I don't know, these files are like tens of thousands of lines long and have a whole edit program or project in there with all different sorts of settings and literally hundreds of different keys and tags in there. I've accidentally searched and replaced sometimes, once or twice the wrong, or I was too generous with search and replace. So yeah, this is why I tell you this. You shouldn't do this. Will we do it? Probably. But then we probably also know that it might be problematic, that we shouldn't be doing this. Yeah, and I think that's when it comes to tool programming, at least the tools that I've shown you, it's in the end, it's just reading files, parsing files, changing or matching certain string patterns, replacing them with different things, and writing valid text files out again. Of course, if you interpret or change binary files, you probably not using, probably won't have to use regular expressions. I mean, unless of course you're looking at big blobs of just string data. But with binary files, I would be super careful, because I sometimes when I thought I could quickly just change something in a binary file and then broke things, because of course in my experience with binary files, many file formats are efficient in a way that they always tell, okay, the next chunk of data is this many bytes long. And of course, if you change a string from 2 letters to like 4 letters, suddenly the chunk is longer. and you need to also to find the chunk header, or maybe even the file header that lists all the lengths of the chunks, and suddenly you really need to have the specification of the binary file that you're editing to make proper changes. So either you need a framework to make sure that you can reliably read and change and then write out these binary files, or yeah, just get a cup of coffee, get the specification, and spend lots of time testing. So whenever I can, I try to avoid this. For example, with the Premiere files, when I first opened them in the text editor, I mean, they look like this. I thought, oh, this must be some weird binary format, right? Because it just says here, okay, this is the file name that I want, but everything else here looks like, oh shit, this is not fun. But of course, when you open this up, this was the big epiphany that I had with Premiere files. When you open it up in a hex editor, and you see here the what's it called? The signifier? No, not the signifier. The identifier of the file type. I think this one here is gzip. So this is just a zip file. And once I had figured out that the Premiere file is just a zip file, and yes, it opens with 7-zip without a problem. Inside there is a file without extension. And when you open up this extension in Notepad++, ta-da, it's an XML file. And this is what my tool is doing. It's doing string replacements. It's treating this XML file as a text file, and it does exactly what I just told you you shouldn't be doing. With these Premiere files, I'm very certain that there aren't any dollar, tilde, project, anything in these like almost 100,000 lines of code, or well, it's not code, it's markup. But I know this for a fact because I already replaced them with my tool, and they open up in Premiere without any problems. But of course, I need then to I change these files, I re-zip them as a gzip file and rename them accordingly, so that Premiere doesn't get a bunch of errors when it tries to open an XML file that it didn't write itself. How dare I? So unlimited power. What have I missed? What have I missed? Curtis says, hypothetically, I knew what I was doing. I mean, if it works, it works. Also with color grading, that I also said in the course. If it looks right at the end, it probably is right. But the journey to get from it's not right to now it is right, you want to make it, of course, this journey as short and easygoing on yourself as possible. With color grading, I always say you can theoretically also color grade an entire movie in Photoshop, just image by image, do the tweaking manually. But of course, it's a nightmare in terms when you want to be consistent or anything. But it's possible. And if it looks right in the end, it is right. But of course, it's much easier to use something that was made for a certain tool. But of course, you can just do string replacements in text files. You can even, I mean, if you want, you can even do string replacements in binary files. And if it works, it works. But you shouldn't rely that it always works, or assume that it always works. Frank says, editing an XML file by hand is fine. Parsing XML files you wrote using your own parser is also fine. Parsing general XML files with your own parser will break. Yeah, parsing XML files. This I never tried writing my own parser for XML files. I mean, for simple YAML files, again, that I wrote, it's fine. But I mean, probably, Frank, you're speaking from experience, right? So I just hope that the framework that I'm using, for example, PureBasic, does come with an XML parser. Or was it HTML? No, it was XML parser. And it works for the most part. Why am I saying for the most part? Again, because with Resolve, they added certain things that you shouldn't be doing with XML files. And depending on your framework or how old your framework is, maybe there's a new standard out there that's not supported. And for example, the XML files that I wrote from PureBasic for Resolve suddenly wouldn't open anymore because it would just quietly eat certain properties, I think. And what instead worked, of course, was, okay, I treat this as a text file and just do a search and replace. And in that case, this was the only way I got it to work. But probably, yeah, don't write your own parsers for file formats that you haven't created. Kersey also agrees. Yeah, unlimited power. And thank you, Kersey, for redeeming Unicorn. You're also considerate that I don't dehydrate in front of the cam. So yeah, that's it. It's for my, in general, for my tool writing. The other things are just things that are nice to have, like as I've already showed you, that to give yourself and the users all the help they can get. If they run your command line without anything, you get a helpful, where am I here? My GoPro renamer, where you get this helpful, where was it? Help. Where is it? List help, where it says here, okay, what it does, how the syntax goes, and even has maybe shows an example or two. Because from my experience, I always like it when, okay, this command line tool lists what it does, but it also has examples, because sometimes you don't know, okay, this is a string, should it go in quotation marks, or when shouldn't it go in quotation marks, or do you need a dash every time, or is it two dashes? You know what I mean. So this is always good to have something as a help file there. And the other thing, of course, is always when something goes wrong in certain points, or when your program makes certain assumptions, then also to have feedback for the user. I wanted to say feedback for the player, but it's the same thing here. Because as a user, I want to know when the program tries to do something and it doesn't work. I mean, I don't know what's happening as a user. So if the program says unexpected error 34, and when you look up, okay, error code 34 for this program, and the error code is unexpected error, well, then there's that. But if your program says, okay, I tried to modify this file, but it didn't work because I don't have the permissions or something, I as a user can say, oh, okay, it tried to write into a temp folder that was protected or something. That's something that I can work with. And the other thing is for user settings, to have them, as we've here with the Pixel project, to make sense to users. And even if it's something that your GUI doesn't support yet, because programming GUIs is a nightmare to get them working, and also validate all user input that they don't do something stupid, right? So so if things break, that there's always this ini file or configuration file that I as a user still can change or edit when I did something that the program did not expect, so that I can, to a certain degree, fix certain things myself. For example, here when I mean, the Pixel project needs the 7-zip exe file, because as we've seen here with the Premiere project, this is gzip, so it unzips it with a 7-zip, does the change to the XML file, and then rezips it. And when it can't find the 7-zip file, it will tell me, hey, I couldn't find the 7-zip file. This is needed for the Premiere file. The program will still continue, but you cannot edit Premiere files. And I, as a user, know, okay, that's the problem. That's what I need to do. And this is when I don't fix it, that's what the program won't be able to do. So again, it's when you're writing tools for yourself, maybe this might be overkill. But then again, if you haven't used your own tool in half a year and then come back to it and want to write it, a program, a batch file or something, suddenly you're very happy that you put all this effort in for future yourself. Frank says, the world usually uses XML 1.0, but XML 1.1 exists, and we did once have a project at work that used XML 1.1 because it needed the things. That was fun. I would assume you're being sarcastic there, but that was fun. It turns out XML 1.0 does not support control characters. Oh, okay, in any way, not even escaped, but 1.1 does. And if you're writing an XSLT transformer that produces HPPCL output to be sent to a printer, oh dear, you need control characters. Lesson: writing a printer driver directly using XML manipulation tools is not common. This does not sound like fun. As soon as you say printer, I already thought can't be fun. Because, you know, I have this business idea when it comes. Okay, it did work. Congratulations, never touch this code again. Never touch it. Yeah, when it comes to printers, I have this business idea, and I call it Simple Print. It's like a printer that just prints. The print driver does not come with Winnie the Pooh Printing Studio, does not have like 300 megabytes to download. All you can say is, I want to print it in different paper sizes, maybe have a ink saving mode and multiple copies, and that sort of basic things that you can also do when printing a PDF, right? And that's the printer driver. It's like 2 megabytes. It works on all systems. And you know what? When the ink is low, you can just refill it yourself with whatever ink you can find. It's really, it just has a little tube where you can refill ink, and that's it. Clean print, simple dumped down printer driver, does not anything special, 5 megabytes at most, and it works. That's my proposal. Because with printers, my God, how is this even possible that we've come to this point where even downloading the latest printer driver from the printer driver manufacturer is a nightmare by itself. I mean, we have a Brother printer, which is so far the best printer that we've ever had, which doesn't say a lot, but it works for the most part. But still, it has its own network tool and all has some weird inconsistencies with user interfaces, where some user interfaces feel like, okay, this was made with Windows 8 design specifications in mind. Then you open up settings and it looks like a Windows 95 menu, and there's some very strange translations there where it feels like, okay, this was once Chinese and wasn't translated by a native speaker in one direction or the other, and all these weird inconsistencies, and the printer drive is like 300 megabytes and you feel like, what for? Anyway, that's my business idea. I need just someone to make it. Right. So yeah, writing your own tools it saves you time down the line. Don't do it if you don't enjoy programming tools. Like I said, it's a bit like with writing. I don't like writing too much, but I love having written. And it's the same thing with tools here. Those are little projects that are much more likely to be finished. Like this copy thing here, it took me like almost 2 weeks that I could write besides work and besides all my other projects. And it works and it's finished right now, mostly. I mean, of course, there probably are some weird bugs and glitches that can still crop up in certain edge cases, but for now this is relatively tested, and you're done with it, and it's like this little thing that you made and you finished. And I mean, if anyone is interested in this, I can write up a little bit of documentation and what it does and what it can do, but I think it's not very applicable to other people because it really has here the date code and the number and production code. And I mean, the production codes, for example, those are hard coded. I mean, of course, I can make it a bit more open, that you can define your own fields and keys and so on. But then again, that's a different project, right? So just for myself, this is good enough. But I forgot what reloading. Yes, it just reloaded here the ini file because it was saved when I closed the file. Right, tools for yourself, it can be fun. It will probably save you time down the line. It won't save you time down the line when you've written a tool to edit your very specific own interpretation of a file format, and you only need this file format once. But if you're making, I don't know, maybe a DOS game or something, and you come up with your own super compressed file formats for something, or level definition files, probably the time spent on making an editor for this, even if it's very bare bones and relies a lot upon custom keyboard commands, you probably are lucky down the line for yourself. I mean, of course, for a game jam or something, this probably is not feasible, unless, of course, it's a tool jam, which would also be nice. So it's Game Maker's Toolkit, but Toolmaker's Game Kit. Oh, this is another business idea. Let's put a pin on Toolmaker's Game Kit. But it probably saves you time down the line, because I've realized this where I was having, for example, with Finesweeper, I had this very convoluted process of drawing things in Photoshop, then duplicating the file and scaling it down and cropping it to with a certain automation, and then saving it. And I thought, okay, it's super cumbersome, but I only have to do this once and I'm done with it. And in the end, it turned out, I think it was for the achievement icons or something, I had to do this like 3 or 4 times. And I thought, if only I had a better workflow in the first place, even if I only used it once, it would have saved me so much time later down the line when I need to come back to this. And I think this especially lends itself to level editors or something like this. Anyway, Crucible says Linux has a print server called Cups. That's cute. It can be used for scheduling other things besides print jobs. You have been warned. Okay, this sounds nice. This is what I really like about Linux, because it's this whole it's this nerdiness ingrained into everything, where it says, okay, we have this tool, it can do these things, but it also can be misused for other things. And with that, I just leave you alone and go crazy and go wild with it. And suddenly you have things like, using a printer scheduler to do, I don't know, a spreadsheet software or something, just because it's possible. And Crucible says, one memorable tool I made was a makefile generator for C projects we made for a C coding class. You know what? A makefile generator sounds actually very helpful. I mean, there are many out there. But that's the thing when there are already tools out there, like in my case here with Post Haste, which I don't even have installed anymore because now I have my own tool. At a certain point, certain tools, they try to cover too much when they just get big and suddenly they become unwieldy. It's like with Microsoft Word. I mean, I liked Word 95, right? And then it just blew up in all the things that it could do, and serial letters and database entry or database pulling. I mean, or even the DOS Word could do this. But all these things, and at a certain point, it feels like you're just using the 10%, and to do the 10% that you need, suddenly you have to go through lots of hoops because everything is just so super modular and so big. And then you go back to, okay, I need a super specified tool that only does one thing, but does it super efficiently and super well. And again, that's Pixel Project for me. And the Automated Unicorn reminds me to have a sip of water. Thank you, Automated Unicorn. And Frank says, I mean, Cups does come from Apple originally, so I think, so think what you want. Okay, then. I mean, if it came from the Apple Lisa, then I would say, okay, that's cool, because I've heard the Apple Lisa from many people, at least when coding in the 80s was probably the best machine that you could buy. And even if you wanted to program for the Apple Macintosh, you had to develop on the Apple Lisa. The only downside was it was super expensive, but it was way ahead of its time. And I mean, I still like the slickness of the user interface of the early Macs and the Apple Lisa, because it was graphical and it was just monochrome, but it was, like I said, it felt like this super streamlined tool to do just these one things, but do them well. And yeah, the antithesis to this is whatever Microsoft Explorer has become, or any Adobe product. I mean, Photoshop takes like 30 seconds to launch up the first time you start it. And it has been 30 seconds since 1999. And our computers have been magnitudes faster, but Adobe just keeps piling even more shit onto it, and it's still 30 seconds. No OS X, actually, it might still be used there. Okay, so it's not that ancient then. I mean, one thing with Apple, I cut them some slack because I feel with Apple software, at least in my experience, it still has this Unix lineage to it. And it always feels like, okay, this is probably tested and super robust and super, I don't know, modular or expandable. And with Windows programs, I always feel like, okay, this might have been from Windows 95 and it's a memory leak waiting to happen. Okay, Frank just says, well, okay, so I'm not doing lots of Apple programming stuff. None, in fact. So just trust me with bumping the microphone and nothing else when it comes to Apple coding. So, Frank, you probably have much war tales probably to tell that I don't. Right, yeah, just to wrap up tools coding. Tools are fun. When you like them, tools will save you the time down the line. But of course, they also take time to make, which of course is just a given. But yeah, in the long run, I like making my tools as little projects, and as always with nice little icons, and try to make them as small as possible. And for example, I compressed the ever-living daylights out of all the PNG files that are used. For example, the little icons, I mean, it's just 2 colors. Out of Photoshop, it's like 3 kilobytes. And after compressing with PNG Gauntlet, it's like 360 bytes or something. It's really insane what's still possible. Yeah, Frank says, some Unixy things in OS X don't work because they're not used by Apple, and generic Unix software then breaks. Oh, okay. Never mind then. And Kirsty Blue says, Apple is so good, they need 30% of all patrons in-app purchase money. Yes, that's the thing. If you are one of my patrons and have subscribed to Pixel Prophecy via the Patron app on Apple, yeah, suddenly, I mean, Apple doesn't like any other people profiting from their hardware and software. So if you sell something through the App Store, Apple wants a 30% cut. And not just of the things you sell there, but also if you have in-app purchases or any other things, Apple says you have to use their payment service, I think, and it takes a cut, like 30%. So if you do subscribe to not just to me, to pretty much anyone on Patreon, you probably want to do this not via the Apple app anymore. Just go on desktop. I think there you don't have to pay extra, because in the end the only thing thing that profits off of it is Apple. And I mean, I've already ranted on this thing where I feel like big corporations, especially Apple and Facebook and Google, and you know them, it's not like they are bleeding money. I mean, in some parts probably, but I mean, they're already profitable. And the thing is, but to once they're publicly traded, they need to appease the shareholders and to keep this constant myth of just growing, ever growing alive. And now we've seen it, the enshittification, as was it Cory Doctorow who called it? Pretty much you see it through the board, especially with anything tech, where it's like you feel they just, corporations at a certain point, they just put on the screws and just start squeezing. At first, I mean, Netflix, everything was on Netflix. You could say, okay, if it streams, it's on Netflix. I only have to have one subscription. Cut to a couple of years later, you have Netflix, you have Hulu, you have Amazon Prime, you have HBO, you have Paramount, you have Disney Plus. Suddenly it's a nightmare because everyone is doing their own thing. And then they start like with PlayStation and even Xbox Game Pass. They just charge you more and more for the same thing, or even the less service that they provide. And it's, yeah. And I've noticed the same thing. I've talked about this with my designs on Redbubble, where they introduced this account fee, where they promised, oh, don't worry, you will never have a negative amount of money. So whenever you sell something, the account fee grows with what you sell. Essentially, what they do is they already take like 50% what I make there, and then they take another 50% for account fees. And really my earnings, my what I sell in terms of my designs on Redbubble in the last half year, 8 months or so, has slowly inclined, which I'm super happy for. But what I make of it, sometimes I had months where I made about 100 euros each month. Sometimes, usually it was around $60, but still, sometimes there were 100, 120. I was elated. And then, of course, you put on more designs and spend more effort. I thought, yeah, maybe this could really, I could spend more time on this to have really this anchor as passive income. And then, yeah, Redbubble just started to introduce their account fee. And of course, there are different tiers of fees. But to get to a tier where you don't have to pay this many or this high of an account fee, it's super unfocused or super muddy there, what constitutes an account. Essentially, in the end, they just say you need to drive more sales onto Redbubble. So essentially, you just have to hardcore evangelize for Redbubble and just bring people there and into your store and connect with customers on Redbubble, whatever this means. And in the end, just they decide when you're allowed not to be charged this much, this high of an account fee. And again, it feels like it feels super unfair. It feels super unfair. So from the $100 that I made, now it's down to about 15 to 20 each month, because suddenly my sales went up, but what I sell, it's just mostly just stickers. And for each sticker that I sell, I get like 50 cents. And of that, then it's like 30 cents. And like I said, it feels super unfair, but I mean, what can I do? I just complain on Twitter. And should I move completely off Redbubble? They will probably not notice that I'm gone, but it's still, like I said, it's still a couple of bucks. But in the end, it feels unfair. And it's the same thing, I feel like, throughout tech. And this is why I bitch about Premiere, Windows, Apple, pretty much any big corporation, because it's not the quality of the software anymore. It's just charging as much as you can and doing as little as possible that people still pay for your product. And especially if you're in a position like with Adobe, where you're the de facto industry standard, well, then of course you have more or less a monopoly and can charge even more and have even less for people, because they are, as in my case, more or less feel obligated to have this. And this is why I mean, in the long term, open source and games and independent stuff is where really the innovation happens, the creativity, the originality happens. But again, it's, I mean, I'm a bit bitter, but it really feels like if something in the indie space is really gaining traction or something, then of course the big corporations will suddenly start maybe to notice with just half of an eye and just pick what's there and then just make it shit and transform it into their monetized ecosystem. Rant over. My God, this was wonderful. I'm really sorry. What have I missed in the chat? Frank says, I wonder how long it takes until Apple decides they need a 30% cut on all transactions in banking apps. Good question. Yeah, right? I mean, at a certain point when you're Apple, you feel like, I mean, it happens on our hardware with our software. So naturally, we're entitled to this, right? Cursipo says, companies don't want to make money. They want to make all of the money. Commander Stephanie Sterling. Exactly. Yeah, I think I was radicalized with late state capitalism by Commander Stephanie Sterling. So, but yeah, she's right. They are right. Right. So this was my talk on, well, presentation, my show and tell on making my tools. I completely blanked on what I just did for almost 2 hours now. I'm still somewhat vitalized by coffee, and I want to try out streaming a game, probably a high profile in terms of what it demands of my graphics card. So are you up for switching from programming to just watching me play something? What I'm thinking about is playing the Robocop game, the Robocop Rogue City, which is another game from Theon. They also made a couple of years back the Overlooked Terminator game, which was, it's like a double-A production. It's with Unreal Engine 5, at least the Robocop one. It looks, in my opinion, stunning. Overall, sometimes the polish is lacking a bit, despite being starting a very polished Robocop. But overall, I had lots of fun with this game because it was so different from other shooters, because it's not a shooter. Actually, it's some sort of halfway role-playing game where you talk to people and do social work as a detective while also sometimes shooting bad guys. So I would try to play this. I mean, I just finished it a couple of days ago, so I would just pick some missions that I found were particularly fun. Cursipo says coffee, and the automated unicorn said blubble from your coffee. Game Steam test. Cursipo gives me the thumbs up, and Limonaut says hell yeah. Yeah. Dead or alive, we're coming with you. Affirmative citizen. Let us try Robocop then. It's such a fun game, I really have to say. I just need to make sure that I'm also seeing and hearing, and I'll be playing this in full screen. So I probably have to switch to a different mode in OBS. But you know what? I will just start it, and you will let me know if the stream becomes choppy or breaks off or anything, or you don't see a lot. So yeah, let's try and see what happens. But first, of course, I have to start Steam and make sure that I've selected the correct audio output. Playback speakers, Realtek audio. Oh, I have to switch. headphone jacks. There we go. Ah, cool. Frank says, I have little opinion. Is this good or bad? But yeah, like I said, the game is surprisingly good for what it is. And you know what? Maybe we have a look at the foundry level, at the steel mill, not the foundry, because again, I feel like this really plays into the strengths of the game. And also, if you want to play it, you probably won't be spoiled a lot by what's going on there. Okay, so the title is Tools Programming. Let's change it to Robocop Rogue City. And also change here the category. That 2 viewers overall. And this is a mature rated video game that may not be suitable for some viewers. So probably need to change the audience from everyone. Okay, I do not meet the minimum requirement to change the audience then. Okay, this is wonderful. Oh, and I even have the wrong tag. Instead of programming, I had a type of rogramming or something. Stream language. Oh, there we go. It goes. Content classification, sexual themes, violent and graphic depictions. Probably that. Because in Robocop, you probably will see some heads explode. So hopefully you're up for that. Right. Let's give my cool rig an attempt. I mean, I'm probably not streaming at 4K or even internally playing at 4K. I'm not hearing anything. Now I'm hearing something. But I'm not seeing OBS anymore. But at least I still see the chat. So can you tell me? Put the rubber on the road. Yes, here we are. Can you hear this? Is this too loud? Is this too quiet? Can you see it? And is my mouse movement somewhat smooth? Okay, from what I can tell from the other screen, it looks okayish, but I'm not sure about the audio, that you can hear what's going on. Okay, seems good, says Cursey-Boo. Then I will just load a game. And let's go to Downtown, Metro West, Ghost House, Slaughterhouse, Metro West, the Steel Mill. Okay, might be a bit loud, thank you. Then I turn it down here and switch back. Is this better now? But hard to say based on variable intro screen volume. That is true. You know what? I probably can change the volume mid-game, so please let me know. Okay, so in the game we're at the steel mill. Has any of you seen Robocop? Because I haven't seen the movies until like a couple of months back. Of course, I've heard of the movies, and my God, the first Robocop is very good. I also even like the second one, and the third one is just pure 80s crap. Or was it already early 90s? But yeah, also didn't like some parts or the tone changes in Robocop 2. But the game, I would say, is very good. Is probably the best of all. I mean, it's not better than the first movie, but it's very close to being a very worthy successor. Better than the second movie. Okay, so in the game, the story is we're looking for a missing police officer, and all we know is that we need to go to the turf of the street vultures.
Street vultures are territorial and vicious. You wouldn't want to be caught on their turf, especially by their leader, Spike. You know, I'm reading that he's known to be exceptionally savage. Apparently, none of his enemies got out of Highland Park alive.
I will be the first.
I'm gonna get fired.
And the steel mill is actually, as with many locations, one that you also see in the movies, which have been recreated quite faithfully, I would say, very close in look and feel to the original.
Police officer there will be like looking for a needle in a haystack. I'm looking at the map of this place, and it's huge. There's no way you can investigate without being noticed. Street vultures are the biggest gang in Detroit.
I have a large supply of bullets.
And yes, we have. So, I mean, here, this is the map of this level. It is indeed huge. And there are also OCP chests. I mean, I've already upgraded here in this game. By the way, yes, you can upgrade your skills because this is some sort of RPG game, like I said. So I have here vitality, psychology, and deduction. And deduction here says that I have marked locations of valuable items or data on your map. And this is why I can see those things. When I right click, I can switch to this Robocop view. Right now, since there aren't any enemies, I don't see anything in particular. But you know what? Overall, the frame rate looks good on my end, like a super steady 60 FPS. And judging from what I see on the other monitor, I think we should be fine also there on the stream. Frank said, never seen them and never wanted to. Fair enough, fair enough. I will always... by the way, sometimes there is stolen wallet or incriminating pictures. This is just crime evidence and you get a couple of XP points for them. But overall, I'm just smitten with the quality, the rendering quality that this game has to offer. Because this is Unreal Engine 5 and a lot of it has been done with photogrammetry, especially some like piles of rubble here. I mean, they look very good. They look very good. And usually I would be a little bit terrified because you wouldn't know what's happening there or where the ambush is actually happening or if there is an ambush. Good thing is that I've already played it, so I'm not too worried anymore. And sometimes there are documents that you can read. And for this, you also get experience points. But you don't have to read them. It's not mandatory. But of course, since you get experience points for them, it's kind of nice. And as for weapons, I mean, since now I'm not in the combat mode, I can't switch weapons. But the weapons are, you have this one standard gun, the Auto 9. This one here, and it's your standard pistol. This one has unlimited ammo and you can upgrade it here. You have certain, the game calls it certain motherboards just for your cannon, and depending on which motherboard you have here different kinds of junctions, and depending on what you slot in, for example, this is 14%. If I switch it here for the chip for 15%, then suddenly what I did, I also connected here this line where it has minus 10%. So I probably should take just the 14% and don't have this lane here active, this 10% node. And you know what? It's a fun little puzzle game. I really like it. And the other weapons are just weapons that you pick up, and when you run out of ammo, then that's that. So here...
Abandoned squad car sighted. It could belong to Officer Briggs.
I can't report it based on your assumption. I'm already in enough trouble.
So, and now we need to scan. And since Robocop is still a cop and a detective, we need to figure out and look for clues. For example, there's one.
OCP tracking device torn out.
That's why no one knew where to look.
We have here bullet holes. Yes, Cursey Boo, the new PC finally is working.
Holes in the bodywork.
Is very good.
Every cop car in the precinct has bullet holes.
Already tried it out with Cyberpunk, and again, even in 4K, it was running almost steady 60 FPS. I mean, everything at max. It was amazing. So now we need to figure out where Officer Briggs went. And since...
I am going to follow the blood trail leading from the car.
I know you really want to find Briggs, but the trail might as well belong to any of those bikers. I'm urging you to discontinue this search.
Negative.
Negative. And now when I'm hitting right click, I probably should see the blood trail. Unless, of course... Oh, there it is. There it is showing up. And like I said, the graphics, they look very good. I mean, we got here ray tracing on the car of the environment. This is nice. I mean, I'm just a graphics aficionado. So especially puddles of water, as you can see here on the concrete. It's super nice when there's really actual reflections happening inside of them. That's super nice. I love this. So yeah, for a shooter game, there's not that much shooting actually. And the fun thing is, since, I mean, you're Robocop, I like the slow pacing of it because, I mean, I can also run, which is slightly faster. But what I cannot do in this game is, of course, jump or duck. Which I find, at first it was a little bit, I needed to get used to this. But I mean, look at this. So we're probably getting close to our first encounter with the street vultures. And for that, yeah, there we go. And since they are vultures, and they try to circle you, so this is why I usually take my time there when they're just starting to circle me. There we go. And since we're Robocop, we can take quite a beating. Also, what I could do, of course, is pick up the motorcycles and throw them. This is so much fun. Just look at this. Bam! Let's get rid of this music and reload. And now here I can pick up a secondary weapon, like the micro SMG, because I have a feeling that I might need these later. Ah, quiet. So area of investigation, and there is, I think this looks like one of these chests. The containers. And what we find in here are those chips that we've seen, that these little junction nodes for our Auto 9. And yeah, it's a bit janky because I cannot jump and just had to creatively walk over here. So anything that I've missed in the chat? Not so far. Thank you for viewers who are still there. Watch me play this. It's really, you're like a tank. You're like a tank. You just walk around, and at the lower left you can see my health, and I still got 4 out of 4. You know what? Let's try some explosives. Very good. Very good. And you can even throw objects like barrels. Which again, Unreal Engine, it's fun. And here we got some stolen stuff. So hopefully, by the way, hopefully my mouse movement is not too erratic, that you're getting queasy, because this I've noticed, especially with first-person games, when I'm watching someone else play, especially with mouse and keyboard, it might be a bit, yeah, too much. So no hard feelings. So this is an OCP recovery charge. Essentially, it's like a health pack. But since my health is very good, I don't need it. And look at this. I can breach through the wall, which means I have a couple of seconds where I can pick up these guys here. Oh, there's another one. There we go. But there are more. Oh, grenade, grenade. Grenade. Yeah, this is what I meant with the gore factor here. Yeah, there are lots of fleshy bits flying around. So anything else? The stolen handbag. I'm trying not to have my movements to be too erratic. I've lost a bit of health here, but I found a new gun. And I can even breach through here. Huh. Oh, there's another one coming around here. On the upper compass, you can see those red little indents. This is where the enemies are relative to my position. Was there another one? Did I miss one? No. Oh, this is fun. Sometimes there are these stationary machine guns, and of course, since we're Robocop, we can just take them. Limbonaut says that environment destruction model is nice. Yeah, like I said, it's surprisingly fun and good for a AA game. So, my friend, where are
Looking for a police officer.
the other things?
Hey, I don't know anything. I'm just an accountant.
He was brought here.
There is always so much happening around here. I tend to focus on my work. I wouldn't remember.
Would you like me to refresh your memory?
No! Police officer, I get you. You're right. Not long ago they brought him here. He was already in real bad shape. I kind of felt for the guy.
Where is he?
Once he got back on his feet, they took him away. But I don't know where. I'm telling the truth. I only deal with numbers. If you need any more info on your friend, try the warehouse office. It's on the west side of the mill.
Good, cutscene over. Guys in handcuffs. And Cursibu asks how I would rate the color grading
Till I return.
of the game.
No problem. If anyone finds me cuffed up here, I will look as tough as the others.
Yeah, this is one of the downsides of this game is now that I have, of course, to get out and back on the streets. And this means to just, retread my steps. Yeah, the color grading, it's...
Ready to come back to the precinct?
no one is
Officer,
is letting me finish my thoughts.
move to another location.
I feel attacked.
The thug's testimony. Proceeding to the enemy command center.
How can you be sure that he's not leading you into Alliance then?
I am hoping for it.
So I'm using my health pack so that I can pick up this one because I can only carry 4 health items at a time. So this is... Oh look, stolen watch. This is what I just did because there was a health thing lying around. Yeah, finally, to finish. The color grading, I think it's very filmic. This is what we've seen with many Unreal Engine games, is that they go for this very filmic appeal like Ace's color grading. So overall, I would say the lighting is very good in this game. So I like it.
It's out of police jurisdiction. And according to the new policy, if we wanted to legally be there, we need to go CP executive. And I'm sure what Becker's stamp.
I believe I do.
I'm starting to understand why he hired me. You're a handful.
So I'm just going to camp here and wait for the guys to come. I mean, after all, I'm more or less a walking tank. Oh. Where did that one come from? That's the fun with the machine gun, right? That's not so much fun.
Look out! In Robocop!
well. He went quickly. And there's another health pack. So don't mind if I do. If you spend time there on the levels, oh, I could have healed myself there at this wall box as well. Yeah, if you want to spend time on the levels, you can, and of course you can find stuff. Sometimes even shortcuts, or I think there's even a way to get up there and then get the grenade launcher as well, because I don't think that I have enough bullets. Oh yeah, I remember this one. This was a bit tough because I need to get to this guy. Oh no, oh no. Probably should heal now. Maybe I can get some health from this box. So, who's still shooting at me? Yeah, found the shortcut. But this one guy is calling in reinforcements. No, he's not. Oh, look at this. There's a healing item and another box. Where? Oh, there you are. Oh, no ammo. Probably should then try a different weapon if I have no ammo left. There's one more guy somewhere here. How do I get down from here? Oh, there are the steps. Crazypoo says, I've come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I can't eat bubblegum since I'm a robot. I mean, there with this targeting help, where it's much easier to spot the enemies since you can see their silhouette. It's not that hard. And like I said, this is my running speed, so I can't go much faster than this, but I can recharge now these wall boxes. So there's still one. Where is he? Where is he? Oh, probably somewhere underneath here. I'm not sure if that's intentional or if I can get to this guy down here, or whether he just clipped into the scenery. Anyway, I mean, since I need to just get to this mark, it's 50 meters from here. Yeah, let's trade my weapon for this micro SMG. But this is as fast as you can go in this game. Maybe here. Sorry. No. Also not here. But overall, I mean, the graphics, even just this pile of, what is it, coal? Looks surprisingly good. And the cool thing is, I can stream and play in full resolution. It's so great. Right, so probably more enemies. I'll probably get the assault rifle. Yeah, the armed one with a hammer, that was... that hurts when he hits you. Okay then, how do you like this game overall? I mean, you could say it's a stupid shooter, but maybe it's just this part here. But if you've seen the movie, you know that Robocop is having flashbacks of not just his family, but also what happened or how he even turned into a Robocop, because he was a cop on duty and killed in action. And the thing was, he was even killed in this very steel mill, this very location here. And again, the game is recreating the location relatively closely to how it looked in the movie. So I watched the film again yesterday, and yeah, if you recognize this here is... Exactly, this is where you died. And then were put together by this mega corporation OCP that made you a robot for their nefarious purposes. So anything else here to find? But like I said, with such graphics, it's just fun just standing there and looking at things, especially in the police precinct. So we get here a new PCB. Look at this. This looks like the RAM that was malfunctioning. And this PCB is actually one of the boards that I can use here. For example, I got here the new Omni board, the tier 0.1. So let me reset all the chips here and change the board to the new one that we found. And again, this becomes now a puzzle game. So for example, I want to up the reload speed. So if I just plop this one in here, then I also power this penalty node. So I want a node that takes this input here, but doesn't pass it on. And in our case, we have here this 22%. So this already increases our reload speed by 22%. Then what else do we have here? The armor piercing, which also is kind of helpful. I just need to find something that doesn't have this output here on the left side, but passes everything on to the right side. Yeah, probably my best bet is this 10% L node here. Cursepu says, game design of these pistol upgrades puzzles looks like a challenge. I think this could actually be a game by itself. If you have ever increasing difficulty of boards or just a certain set of chips that you can use, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it feels like you don't have to do this, but it feels like this nice little thing on top where you feel like super smart when you figure out a way of doing things where you can get the most bang for the buck, sometimes quite literally speaking, without going through too many penalties, not demalties. So for example, here I got minus 10 magazine capacity because I powered this massive damage, increases damage dealt, no critical hits. So overall, just the damage dealt, which also is helpful when you're not aiming for the head. So again, I want something that doesn't have here a top output node, but that passes through like these 11%. And also here, just something that goes bottom to top, but not to the left, because again, penalty. Let's go here, and I got single shot mode, but this one deals heavy damage. So instead of shooting this volley of 3, I'm just having here this one. And the cool thing is also, if I have here some low-grade chips that I don't need, I can just take 3 of them, merge them together for a slightly higher grade chip, which again is good because sometimes there are just too many lower grade chips. Crazy Poo says, maybe in a game like this isn't so bad to feel overpowered. Exactly. The problem comes in later stages where it's the amount of enemies and some, I mean, we probably see this here today with snipers, because with snipers, You notice when they notice you, but they pack quite a punch. So then at a certain point, of course, the intensity of the enemies and the number of the enemies gets ramped up. And there are some bosses in between which are just bullet sponges. I mean, I played this on hard, and it's just you have to hold down the key, the trigger for minutes. And I really timed it. It's like 2.5 minutes. So this is the police officer we're looking at, and he's clearly not being treated nicely. Hello, 6 viewers now all of a sudden.
I knocked his fucking tooth out.
I mean, I'm going to skip this. On one hand, that you're not getting spoiled when you want to follow the story, and on the other hand, I don't like to watch people getting tortured, even if it's just pixels. I just can't stand it.
I found a tape of Briggs being tortured. Their boss Spike was in on it, together with Wendell Antonowski.
Did you say he was tortured?
Yes, surrounded, with no way out and no backup.
That sounds so messed up.
They used him as prey. They mentioned a quarry.
Did you say quarry? Okay, let me have a look. Yeah, I see it. It's just north of your position.
On my way.
Robocop,
On my way.
really hope you find him.
So let's advance to the quarry, which is a relatively big area or sub-area of this steel mill level. But overall, I mean, just look at this light here, how it really glows and gives off this volumetric shine. Unreal Engine 5, and especially with good shaders and materials. This, I mean, I've said it before, this game looks very good. And yes, you could feed the automated unicorn spaghetti, but it wasn't the best spaghetti because for some reason they crumble. And if spaghetti starts to crumble, it's probably not the best. So, more enemies. So, they keep throwing grenades. And as you've noticed, I'm not shooting grenades. Because in the entire game you can't shoot grenades. So this is just something that the enemies can do and you cannot. By the way, you also have a punch. But I hardly get close to enemies that I can really make use of this. But I mean, there with this vision, it's otherwise I wouldn't be able to discern the enemies here in this darkness, especially because I'm looking against the light. So, let's see if we can find anything here. Yeah, and now this opening, this was closed before. Oh God. That's fun. Look at the blood spatter. So there's one, but there is also one, if I recall. God, my aim is horrible.
You're there. That's the quarry. I hope you find Briggs.
I will not stop until I do.
Look at the reflections. Gorgeous.
Something that would interest you?
He's clearly prepared an ambush for you. That's why you won't try to go there, right?
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 So, suddenly now we have even sub quests that we can take care of. For example, here it says unwanted goods. So, there we have to destroy drugs. Then we can look into whatever is going on in this here. Then there is even a diesel engine that we somehow need to get running. And there is, I think, the objective of this part here. So there's lots to do.
Oh, shit.
I mean, that's kind of funny because it's just so gratuitous. But yeah, the thing is, this is a literal minefield. By the way, there is something there at the side. Cursipu says, anyone play Alien Isolation? That was also a really good movie to game adaptation visually. I played it, but I couldn't play it for long because this survival horror, I mean, it just exhausts me. I cannot play it. I didn't play it, I mean, I played it for, I think, an hour or so, but before the first Alien appeared. I just couldn't take it any longer, but it looked very good. It was very cinematic. So yeah, let's try to go whatever is there. But again, I mean, look at the graphics. Look at the graphics. That you can see here, the water puddles in this mud reflected, and the definition there on the quarry stones. Oh, hang on. What's it with my aim? Yeah, that's probably not the best weapon. Oh, okay. I have a feeling that there might be enemies. Limonot says, your aim is fine, gun is rigged. Okay, then it's not my aim. I hear a beep. Oh, there is a beep. Okay, good. So it's not a proximity mine, at least. So... you know what? I will change guns. And this is really the power fantasy. I'm just standing there. Maybe it's my aim. Maybe it's my aim. Didn't I just hit you? You can just stand there and take all the bullets, and it's not that much of a problem. So this guy apparently needed 2 headshots. Good for him. Usually they blow themselves to pieces, especially when there's a group of them and one is throwing a grenade. Most of the time they just blow themselves up, which is kind of fun to watch. Yeah, on those radios you can listen to some radio spots. Oh, what's there? Look at this. YNOC says, I did Cursible, really enjoyed, then I tried a VR mode for it and noped out of there so far. I can only imagine. I mean, Alien Isolation, even when the alien is not literally getting in your face, is probably terrifying. Like I said, I couldn't take it. And with VR, I mean, why would you subject yourself to this? Limbonaut says, when it first came out, my wife said she's not touching that game and she's an Alien movie fan. So am I, but man, some things are just too intense. I mean, which definitely speaks for the game. Okay, this gun here is problematic because this does hurt a lot, but there's a way around it because maybe we can find a way to get into his back. Just need to go through these. Oh, look who's here. Still got it from all my years of playing Counter-Strike. Playing Whack-A-Mole here. Don't have time for this. Okay, more than one headshot? Fine, I guess. But some things like the strategic cornering or strategic reloading, that's really something that once you have it ingrained in yourself, you hardly lose. So look who's here. Huh. So, and here is this unwanted goods side quest. So probably let's take the heavy machine gun and see what else I've missed in the chat. Frank says, I'm not so sure if I'm going to watch for much longer. Gore and this dystopia are two of the things I'm really not into. Hey, Frank, no hard feelings, really. I totally understand. So thank you for taking some time during the week to watch this stream. And yeah, if you drop out, again, no hard feelings. I totally get it. And thank you so much for watching, for subscribing. And yeah, I hope that I can come back on Sunday. Why can't I go in there? Oh, I have to look at this. So probably where there's a bit of more gore coming right up.
You're here! Hey, I knew you wouldn't miss it for the world. Just go through the door. They're ready when you are.
Just make sure to stay vigilant. This is clearly a trap.
And I'm playing shooter games like this is the trick that designers hate is like I enjoy bottlenecks. Like here when I'm going through this door, the whole thing is designed like an arena that you can, with lots of cover and different passages that you can take. And what do I usually do? I just retreat as fast as I can and just take them out one by one. And this is probably why there are enemies throwing grenades, just to make sure that you're not staying too much in the cover. And yeah, now I step directly into... Oh, there you are. I step directly into one of those grenades. So there's another one of these enemies with a very strong gun. But look at this, there's a grenade thrower. So maybe if I'm fast, I can pick it up before... Oh no, he hits me. Well, that's that. Usually I'm one who saves all the big the big guns for maybe later. I never know what later means. Sometimes I know, okay, maybe this is the final battle, so probably I should use all my stashed goods. But sometimes I feel like, yeah, maybe this is not the final form of the boss, or maybe I could use another one, or could use it later even. So sometimes I hang on for way too long. And then the end credits roll. And I'm still having my super heavy weapon that I've never used because I was just hoarding it essentially.
How is he still alive? We gotta stop him now. Look out!
Grenade! Okay, we've narrowed it down to one. Okay, grenade launcher guy. So, and now all I have to do is to destroy... Oh, there's more! Oh, grenade, grenade, grenade! Okay, when the game switches to slow-mo, this usually means I have finished the last one. So those are the drugs. Let's destroy some drugs. One of the early baddies in the game has a t-shirt that says, "Winners do drugs." So look at this, I got another PCB. Chris Boo says, I beat Fallout New Vegas a few days ago. Oh, congratulations! And realized I never shot a fat man once. Only normal mode, so game was not too difficult anyway. Yeah, the fat man, the mini nukes in Fallout New Vegas. Exactly, that's... I think I also have stashed fat man ammunition in in my save game for over a decade now. I think I shot once into a group of Deathclaws. But again, this was on... I played it on survival mode, so this was just for self-defense. But I felt bad, like I probably needed this later. Still have it, and finished also New Vegas. But cool. How did you enjoy New Vegas? Because I felt it was amazing. Did you carry it around? Says YNOC. And XP Monster says here, hello, how's it going? Yeah, we're playing Robocop for a change. It weighs too much, the fat man. Yeah, that's the cool thing with inventory. Well, cool. In Fallout, everything has a weight. And on survival mode, I think even the bottle caps and ammunition has a weight. And it's weighing you down, and you also have to carry it with you, especially foodstuffs.
While they last. You won't be so lucky with the next one.
Robocop? Are you there?
I am.
Oh, thank God. How was it? Was that a risk worth taking?
I have destroyed the supply of drugs.
Spike must have felt confident about his small army. So I'm guessing you're ready for round 2?
I am going for a knockout.
Oh, the graphics. I love the attention to detail. I mean... Oh, hello? I mean, it's my aim, right? It must be my aim. I like the attention to detail because you never go where these excavators are, or I think these furnaces or whatever they are. But hey, it's everything is modeled and lighted and shaded. It's great. It's great. I love it. Just holding off for that. Maybe there might be a 4+ enemy on screen. Did you finish the cool beat you were making? You mean last week? Yeah, I think I finished in the game. On the stream, I meant. I'm too many things happening in my brain at the same time, I feel. By the way, I want to go to this OCP chest, but then I have to go through here. And this might be a problem, which I can show you. But yes, I finished in the last stream with something that can be used, hopefully, in the game. In terms of music. So you see what is happening here? There are a lot of these things and they are underwater. Which is probably not what you want. So the last time, when I played this the first time, I was going like this and hoping that I would spot every last of these little LEDs against the reflection of the water. By the way, there are also enemies, I think, up here somewhere. So it's... going here is a bit dangerous. But I mean, I like it when the game mixes things up like this a bit. Oh yeah, I've missed that one. Was one. The good thing is with headphones and the Unreal Engine's audio component, those things are relatively good to spot just from by ear. Also the radar helps, of course, on top, because you know when one is popping around the corner. So I think there's something in here. Yes, there is one of those chests. Even with a recovery charge. Okay, so let's have a look at this ruin here. Crazy Poo says FNV was pretty good indeed. Can't see why it's many people's favorite. Did you play also with the DLCs, the Messenger DLCs? I think, because I found some of them super amazing, and others were a bit. The big finale was a bit lacking. But overall, yeah, good game, and so much in there. Probably should stay away from things that explode. Exploding, reloading. There's one of my friends still missing. Up here! There you are. Man, without those silhouettes, I'm now so used to them. Okay, which of you pops up first? And you. Oh no. But in other shooters, I would have been shot like 50 times by now. But I mean, that's Robocop. This is exactly what I want from a Robocop game. That I feel like this walking tank. I didn't expect that one. But shotgun to the face and still survived. That's good. And look at this. There's a safe, but I cannot open because I don't have the safe combination. But maybe I can find it somewhere. I mean, in many cases, the safe combination is somewhere close by in this game, but I didn't find it everywhere. So, I mean, I could of course level my engineering skill, but I mean, it's just for the safe where there are just some more XP points in there. So probably don't need it. Right. So what else do we have to do? Oh, I've missed an OCP chest here because the game is a bit of a collectathon. It's good when you get all the chests. Was it outside here? Yes, there it was. Because at the end of each section you get graded, because in the game story Robocop has a performance chip in his head, so that he gets graded. And this, again, it feels, on one hand, it feels very gamey. On the other hand, of course, it makes sense that his performance is being graded and how many baddies has he shot, how many objectives has he cleared, and so on. So let's go up here. What have I missed? Biker secrets. Oh, I've missed something here. Ah, sorry. Well then, let's go back and finish the biker secrets. Because again, I want a good grading. Kersey says, I did play all DLCs. I liked Big MT the best. Yeah, and finished the NCR ending at level 52. Oh, nice. So it was a massacre. I can only think so. I tried. I think I wanted to have a look at all the different endings. So I took, of course, a safe game and then just played as Kaiser's Legion. Okay, enter the building. So this I didn't do here. Yeah, but I think the NCR ending is the one I liked kind of best. Whoa! I thought I took out all of you. But apparently just one headshot is not enough for you. What a massacre. So did we have someone here? Oh, there you are. Look at you. You know what? Let me take here this and throw it there. Yeah, that's kind of gory here. Also, the blood spills out. Grenade! So it's not just one headshot that I need to deliver. Okay, good or rather bad, but it's just something that I have to mind. Will you ever stop? Come on. Come on. There we go. One more apparently in here. Or in the next room then. Yes.
Stings like a bitch.
It stings like a bitch. Yeah. I would think so. So, anyone that I've missed? No. What type of build did you go for, Cursibu? Yeah, good question. Because Fallout New Vegas, I mean, it's such a big game. So more than one headshot. Okay, shooting the propane tank was probably not my wisest move, but hey, it was the last thing here. And I got healing items. Good. So I think those were the biker's secrets. No, here they are. Good. Should I take a different weapon? I mean, I still got 5 grenades in this grenade launcher, so I probably will hold on to this. And this is another dungeon cleared. So you see this game is... I like how straightforward it is. It doesn't try to waste your time, I feel. Which is always good. Because with some games you feel like, okay, now they're trying to get out another 2 more hours of the campaign or something. So, okay. Then let's finish this mission. Well, it's not quite finishing this mission, but getting it one step closer. Because I feel like this is probably the biggest single mission in the game. There are other missions where, well, there are hubs where you go downtown and you can, just from exploring and walking around, you can find other side quests or little things where you can help people. But this one here is like one big war zone. So here again we have the problem of everything is mines. But there is a strategically placed waste container here, so let's just throw it. I mean, just the range of this weapon is quite something. I don't like the sound of this. Where is it? Here's one. Oh, there it is. There it is. So I will go this way then. Game design wise, I think it's pretty clever because I'm looking very closely at what lies ahead of me and have to look very carefully. At the same time, there are enemies waiting for me in the distance. So this is something that can easily surprise me. I mean, I've played this sequence before, so at least I'm not that surprised anymore. Anything else here to find? No. Yeah, just some health. You know what? I will wait with this health and just take it later. Oh, Cursipu says, I was thinking of doing a melee unarmed only build next time. Okay, this is interesting. Because with Fallout, I personally always go for the long arms. Or the ranged weapons. Okay, here I don't want to dwell too long on this. Or I will skip it, because again, if you want to play this, it might have some spoilers. And now you've seen I switched my grenade launcher for this, what looks to be like a Steyr AUG gun, which comes in handy later. So if you not want to get spoiled, then please look away now. But I will skip this
They
anyway.
used it to store Briggs' body.
Oh,
And there's another chest.
means
He was not the only victim.
Kaiser's Legion Pugilist, says Limbonaut. Okay, did you play as
I'm getting you back up.
as one?
If it gets me in trouble.
The only person who should expect.
I always felt that with Fallout, the closed combat builds or close combat in general was feeling always a bit I don't know, like a scramble, a bit fidgety when you get close up to people. Like the engine was not made for this. It was made for.
Robocop, all available patrol cars are coming to support you. I've told them to meet you by the
Okay, we need to go back. It was made for use with swords or something.
Robocop, I'm sorry it took so long. I hope you can forgive me for the freshman attitude. I was just trying
So
to
you can see some blips on my radar, those red things. But one thing that I need to be on the lookout are these two guys. And that is really something that is a bit annoying, because they are pretty fast with spotting you. And you take massive damage when they hit you. And I felt like, yeah, this part was a bit annoying when you walk back.
We're transforming death and decay into life. That was the deal. I can hear the cavalry coming. I don't know how you did it.
Oh no.
Make sure you won't be leaving this place alive.
Huh. Picked it up. Yeah, I didn't have this weapon the first time. So, of course, it made sense that the game would give it to me at a place where I would need it. Because picking up snipers from a distance with my auto was a bit cumbersome. Oh, there you are! Damn it! Damn it! I'm stuck! I'm stuck in his corpse. Okay, get him, get him. We're good again. We're good. Maybe I should reload? I mean, they still got, what, 38 rounds, so this should suffice. Oh, hello. I wasn't sure if I had walked here before, but apparently I didn't. Or I haven't. And again, I'm looking closely at mines, but there might be a sniper in the distance waiting to pick me up. And there he is. It's so much easier with this ranged scoped weapon. Oh, damn it. That hurt. Whew, okay. So where was this other sniper? There. And those hammer guys. It's always hammer time for them. So let's go back, and you still see this engine here that I didn't take care of the first time, which I probably should. And I think this was the last of the snipers as well. Yeah, so there was something that I've missed before when I was here. but no biggie. We can easily get to where we need. I think it was here in the tunnels. I was just lucky that the first time I found it, if it really was where I thought it was, there it was, the Train Operator's Handbook. And now I know Kung Fu. Limonade says, I didn't figure out how to join the Legion and still enjoy such a character. Teleporting everywhere is so fun, says Wine. And Limonade says, I played New Vegas 3 times, but now I think maybe next time. It's a great game because it has such a variety. So let's start the engine. That you can play it a lot of times and still have a new experience every time. Look at this. I thought this was so cool the first time I played it.
Murphy, this is Manson. We've cornered the bikers in the mill, but we could use some help. We're at the southeast gate.
Acknowledged. On my way.
But what's this light here? Oh, looky. There we can enter the building and now we're in the tunnels. Good to hear. I hope I can figure it out, says Cursiboo. Whatever you do, I'm sure, Cursiboo, you will have fun with Fallout New Vegas because, like I said, it's such a good game, and it's, I mean, when you get some graphical mods, it still stands the test of time, I would say. Of course, it's a bit fidgety in places, but all good. So in those tunnels, where do I need to go? What do I need to do here? And I think there is this one optional side mission that you really have to stumble across, which luckily I did the first time I went here. And this was, I think, just a hold up. But I was just in here for the OCP container. But overall, the graphics, I keep repeating myself, but man, those graphics. Didn't I just come from here? No. There's another one. All I'm finding are those upgrade chips anyway, so it's not really necessary that you find all of them. But again, if you want to go for achievements, I don't even think, wait a second, I don't even think you need them for the achievements. So, let's see where I think we haven't been here. Or have we? Yes, we have. Okay, so there we need to go. Okay, Cursiboo didn't use any FNV graphics mods except an indoor color.
Could you at least give me some nuke? That's what's wrong with this town. Your drugs are making people wacko. Ah, you're the one to talk. I know you stole supply from us. Come on.
Oh no. Oh no, they shot my hostage. Again, I don't know why suddenly I have to make 2 shots to kill enemies, but this was clearly bad because now, of course, I failed here this hostage rescuing mission because I was too slow. Oh, bummer. That's what you say when you can't save a hostage. Just go, oh, bummer. Okay, so no graphics mods, just an indoor color adjustment one to get the full 2010 experience. I mean, that's good. Did you also play it at 2010 screen resolution? Like, what was it, 720p? I think that's what I played with back then. Oh, damn it. I thought I could do the hostage rescue mission for you. Okay, music says shit's about to go down. I mean, to get to the south gate. But lucky for us, I know this level by heart. And I think there's even a little hidden thing up here. when you get up on the engine. And there's this ledge that leads to another chest. And with another special part for our weapon. And I think I need this later on. Still in this mission. So I can just drop down here. The first time I played this, I spent like 2 hours in this location, just trying to get my bearings and enjoy the scenery. Because again, this looks like a lot of work went into it. So if any of you have seen the movie, you probably noticed this little fella here.
Hey, Robo!
That's us, we're Robo. Again, I will skip this cutscene. Essentially it says, are you ready?
I go on.
Can't anybody.
Yes, I'm going in now. And by the way, before going in, let me change here our motherboard, because I think we got a better one. So change board 1 to 4.2 is the best one that we have. So another time, our little puzzle game. So do we have a terminator here for reloading speed that doesn't connect to any of these penalty points? I don't think so. So do we have an L going here for the reload speed? Not really. That's weird. Well then, maybe I need to merge some of these 10%ers. And I got not that one that I wanted, but hey, it's okay. We got lots of chips anyway. 15%, that's a Terminator. Fun fact, the same developer also made the Terminator games. Or that Terminator game. So let's do this a couple of times more. So I just need an L junction here. And I don't see one. Because you cannot rotate these chips. And again, I just need one that doesn't lead to any or doesn't connect to any penalty points. And so far, I don't have any chips that I need. So I just have to keep merging them. And I don't think that there's any special combination to it. It's just random what the connections are of the resulting chip. Kirsty says, no way I got to use to all 2560 by 1600 pixels I got and run. And like, yeah, that's the cool thing with old games. No matter what your PC is nowadays, old games run like a wild grease devil, right? 145 FPS. I mean, yeah, sure. That's the good thing. I remember back then when we thought Skyrim was the epitome of what graphics could be. And I mean, back at the time, it was really. I still don't think that I have the one connection that I sorely need for this. So I probably will have to live with the penalties. I just don't want to merge my chips too much because where's my Auto 9? There it is. PCB board. Because now I get this 5% penalty, but oh well. So here I need another L. Well, I don't have one. There's a 10% armor piercing penalty. Ah, this sucks. Can you remember how many times Fallout New Vegas crashed? I have the unofficial patch mod, so no, I still crashed too many times to count. Yeah, that's also the downside of like big open world games. There's just so much happening. Yeah, I think I completely broke whatever I had here. So the armor piercing is down a lot. But maybe I can... This works, then 16% here. But here I got 20% penalty. They already got 15% penalty, which is bad. It's not what I want. But hey, that's that's this game apparently. Yeah, I was a bit unlucky with my chip merging. I mean, let's gamble and let's merge one more time. Maybe there's a chip that I can actually need here. When I'm hitting escape, I always think I can go back to the PCB board, but I cannot. But hey, at least we got here 20% weapon damage, so that's good. But all other things are mostly it's 0%. But I just realized, hey, we got 5 skill points, so which I can probably should spend in with armor or focus, slow motion, scanning, ricochet. That sounds helpful, and maybe armor. That's also good. And combat, yeah, never mind. So, okay, let's do this. Because what we need to do now is be better than the robots. So we need to have more kills than the robot to have this efficiency, to finish this efficiency challenge.
Ed 209 and Robocop fighting hand in hand? I can't wait to see how this goes.
Damn it! I'm not too bad. Maybe I should heal. Okay, 19-6. I didn't know this was a Metal Gear game. Yeah, this is Ed 209. So if you haven't watched the first Robocop, I think yeah, the first one is really the best, and then you will recognize. Okay.
Seconds to comply.
Way to go, Robocop! Oh, I can't wait to tell everyone at the precinct how you kicked Ed's ass.
This didn't go too badly, I would assume. So let's finish this level. I love explosions. Who doesn't? So we're almost done with this level. I think there's only one more fight.
Maybe he could lead us to Wendell. If those two struck a secret deal, no wonder Wendell ditched the punks. Anyway, be careful in there. I wouldn't be surprised if that slime had more tricks up his sleeve.
I think he probably has. Ah, those graphics. I love the intense light sources when they just bounce around. So any chests that I'm missing? Yes, there is one. Is it down here or on the upper level? Ah, it's here. And we got the OCP weapon upgrade chip L-shaped. You know what? I have to check this out right away. What's the L shape? It's this L, and I really can't use it. That's a bad L. Ah, never mind then. Let's carry on. So there is a surprising lack of enemies here, which is slightly unsettling. but so far I think we're doing not too badly. Kersey says, biggest complaint about Fallout New Vegas I have is the invisible walls preventing me from climbing the mountain ranges. Oh, that's classic Bethesda. Still one here? Oh yeah, there's one. I mean, with Bethesda games, I have no idea why it's always super clunky and weird when you walk up mountains. And I always feel like no matter from which side I approach a mountain, it's always the side without the trail leading up to, where it's this diagonal walking where you're always slipping and feel like you're almost dropping, but then with a bit of jumping and diagonal climbing, suddenly you somehow make it to the top. And then once you're at the top, you notice, okay, on the other side there would have been a trail leading up there. Grenade! Finally. So when we're looking at this big furnace thing here, I mean, this looks like an arena, right? Okay, we got here some explosive devices and some healing items. This looks bad. I mean, as gamers, we probably know, yeah, this looks like something's going down here. And of course, you would be right. So anything I'm missing up here? I don't think so. So, okay, there's a drop with no return. Always helpful. Always speaks for a lot of confidence, or creates a lot of confidence. And we can even heal up here before something goes down, so yeah.
It can't end like this.
So I'm going to skip this again because we're not here for the cutscenes. But look who's back, and look who's...
Hey, what's going on over there?
I am under attack from Ed 209.
What? Okay.
And this fight made me almost
So it's documentation here in the precinct.
quit the first time with this game. But the good thing is that you can cheese Ed 09 from this side here. And since
Okay, listen to this. Apparently, Ed 209 speaker cover is often reported compromised after field duty. Why don't you try making that your target?
and see when you cheese him like this, it's not much of a fight. But I had to resort to Reddit to figure this out, because I died like 5 times.
Now have 15 seconds to comply.
Huh, I'm not even hitting him with this long gun. Yeah, and this enemy is a bullet sponge. This is not a lot of fun. As much fun the other fights were, this one isn't so much. But I like the lighting effects. But fighting this thing in the open arena, it was just impossible. Because, yeah, as you can see, it's such a bullet sponge. And if I step out in the open and he shoots at me, I'm taking quite a lot of damage. Damn it. And that's it. See, this is why I hate usually this fight and am always, yeah, cheesing him from the side here.
Hey, what's going on over there?
I am under attack from Ed 209.
What? Okay. Let me see if I can help. I'm pretty sure I saw its documentation here in the precinct.
Okay, I'm doing this just one more time, and if I can beat him, then that's it.
Okay, listen to this. Apparently, Ed 209 speaker cover is often reported compromised after field duty. Why don't you try making that your target?
It's not a very interesting fight, and I think the problem is because it's an arena fight, and when you've fought differently, like more stealthy before, it's a bit like with the first incarnations of Deus Ex Human Revolutions. It feels like the boss fights really force you into a certain direction of fighting, and if you're not super aggressive there, or if you haven't leveled.
I'll have 15 seconds to comply.
I mean, I can use here the environment, but overall, again, it feels not very interesting. So instead of showing you, like I did the last time, how much damage I actually take when out in the open, I won't go for it this time and just finish this fight. Then we watch a little cutscene. Or we won't watch a cutscene, but I can show you the precinct, and especially if you're a fan of the movies or at least have seen the movie, it's amazing how close they recreated it. And then I can finally read what Cursible wrote there in the chat. This is so annoying. But we almost got it. We almost got him. Ah, there we go. Look at those sparks. I love this. Kirsty says, as a first-time player, it makes the world feel less open / more linear when there's an impassable mountain range cutting through the middle of the map. You gotta go the long way to Vegas if you want to avoid the fields of Deathclaws.
Is he still alive?
I am afraid not.
I will skip now, but that's true. I think Fallout New Vegas is probably the most linear because it really forces you to go this U-turn, right? Oh, we're not even at the precinct. We're at the Gibson Memorial Hospital, and we're visiting someone there. But I won't spoil this in case you want to play the game for yourself. But congratulations, we made the other the quarry mission, because again, I think it's probably one of the most impressive missions because there's so many different styles to it. Then of course, well, the downtown hubs are also nice, and as always, attention to detail. I mean, I can look at things like this all day, and I even did. It's just the prop design and so on. It's like, it's really, you notice, I mean, you can read what is on those infusion bags. It's, again, I love these things when games really have this amount of detail.
My wife, she was with me.
You picked the heart.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, thank you so much for watching this, and I hope it wasn't too boring or too gory for you. Kirsty says, this fight is going slow. Yeah, nothing you could have done. I mean, as I played it before, I was just running around, but in the later stages, the robot would just fire volleys of rockets, and they are super hard to dodge. And as you saw the last time, or the first time I tried this fight now, once an entire volley hits you, you can't heal fast enough. And this is like 4 times or so. Like I said, I wasn't this close to giving up. I did rage quit, but then I looked onto Reddit and watched a video of someone who said, just hide behind the van and you're good. And I was good. And there's another fight where it's not that easy to cheese at the end, but overall, these boss fights, they just massive bullet sponges, and it's not a lot of fun as compared to the others, where it's like, okay, you have multiple moving targets and you need to quickly to prioritize. Okay, this one is throwing grenades, this one is a sniper, this one is coming at me with a hammer, so which to take out first? I think this is much more interesting in terms of design and encounter design than just bullet spongy enemies or bosses. But anyway, Right. YNOC4 says, after playing for a little bit, I tend to head north from Good Springs. The cazadors are tough, but I enjoy the loot up that way. Not Robocop, for those who are watching. That's Fallout New Vegas. You know what? Probably I'm very close, especially after watching the Fallout series on Netflix. Amazon Prime. See, too many subscription services. I was very close to starting Fallout 4 again, but then I still haven't finished Fallout 4, so maybe I can find my old save file, but then again, it's not as good as New Vegas. I mean, is there any Fallout as good as New Vegas? Maybe Fallout London. I've heard very good things. For those who don't know, Fallout London is a complete... Is it a complete conversion? It's a full mod for Fallout 4. It's still a little bit buggy because Bethesda overhauled their... I don't know, they made a big patch and essentially broke the mod. It was shortly before releasing, and they thought, okay, we could start pretty much over again or just release it and then have people play it and report back to us, and then we just fix and patch as we go. And like I said, I've heard very good things about Fallout London. All you need is Fallout 4. So maybe that's worth looking into. Kirsty says, oh, you played Fallout 76. How do you think about it? You mean me? Yeah, I haven't played Fallout 76. You've probably seen this one here. I bought Fallout 76 because it didn't cost that much. I think there was a special deal. I thought, okay, for that price, yeah, I can get Fallout 76. But when it came out, I was completely underwhelmed by it. I thought, cool, an MMO with an engine that was never meant to be an MMO engine, and it clearly showed. But I've heard they have been patching and adding NPCs and making things, well, less broken. So maybe that's something that I might look into. And yeah, Forza Horizon, I think I just bought because I've heard that it was going away. So of course I have a FOMO sometimes with certain games because I wasn't sure. Maybe I have the feeling that I want to play a race driving game, and then it's good to have it before it's away for good. One thing that I want to try next is The Invincible. I wanted to get started yesterday, but yeah, lots of things came in the way and I didn't, but maybe in the next couple of days, because finally I have a good computer and I have a rig where I can play games that have state-of-the-art graphics. So I'm catching up on Robocop and The Invincible. The other games that I want, you know what, maybe in case you're interested, I can give you a short overview of the games that I have that I want to play now that I have a computer that's able to play them. Because it's a list. I just thought I write down a list. It's like 3 or 4 titles, and then it's a bit more. So Cyberpunk 2077. This I already played on the new machine. The problem is I inadvertently launched the Phantom. What was it? The Phantom Menace? No, the Phantom Pain. the final big DLC for the story. And I just wanted to play around, and there was this mission, and I thought, okay, I take this mission. And the bad thing about this is I'm now trapped, saved in an arena that I'm not good enough to survive. I tried like also 3 or 4 times, and then I just gave up and probably have to start somewhere outside this DLC mission. But I played like an hour, so that progress is gone. Robocop I did Alone in the Dark, the remake, the reinterpretation, because I love the Alone in the Dark from 91, so I'm very curious about this one. Stray, the cat game, haven't played, wanna play. Monkey Island 3, yeah, that and Sam & Max. Those are big adventure games that I've never played, or I mean Sam & Max I haven't finished yet, so this is probably not for this machine a task, but still something that I want to look at. Immortality also because everyone's talking about it, and I like movies and I like games, so there you go. Pacific Drive because I like driving around and survival kind of games, and again graphics. Indica, also a more narrative adventure that's a super unusual setting, so I'm very much looking forward to this. The big one, Starfield, just because I bought it and I bought into the hype and I kind of regret it. And with my last PC, I just couldn't play it. It was unbearable. Then The Invincible, as we have here, Signalis. That's also not one to test the bite of this new PC, but still, Death Stranding, I mean, that's on my list for years now. Mafia Remastered, just because I played the first one a couple of years back. Alan Wake 2, exclamation mark. Then, and if I'm in the mood for something old school, then I want to play Scald. For those who don't know, that's the RPG that looks like, probably, have I bought Scald? No, I have not. It's an RPG that looks like an old school RPG. Also has the color palette of the Commodore 64, but it's amazing in terms of art direction, and it plays like an old school RPG, but with new school amenities and just player guidance and comfort features. So that's also really something that I want to look into. My God, been talking for so long now. What have I missed? I'm sure the 45th playthrough will be the one, says Wino C. Limonade says, yeah, I haven't finished my Fallout 4 either. Yeah, at some point with Fallout 4, I uncovered all places on the map, and this is usually for me finishing a Bethesda game. And then I felt, yeah, I had the duty to play the main timeline, and I went with the Brotherhood of Steel, and then realized, oh my God, there are certain missions that are just these procedural missions, like with a settlement needs our help. And I played way too many of these missions until I realized, oh God, those are procedural, and I'd never be able to tick them off my to-do list. So yeah, at a certain point with the Brotherhood of Steel, I lost interest because it was just sending me to locations that I already discovered, just repopulated. And so yeah, that was that. But the lighting for a Fallout 4, where it's hazy in the morning, this is really, really something that I still enjoy. Kersey says, Fallout 4 is still something special to me. Do want to try London sometime. Yeah, please do, and let us know what you think of it. And Limonade says, you've got caught in a radiant hell. Me, here, right now? Or are we talking about Fallout? Cool. Anyway, thank you. It's 2:30 in the morning. Thank you all for doing this on a weekday. Like I said, I will try to make a Sunday work. Why try and not definitively a yes that I can make Sunday? Yeah, because I'm invited at a children's birthday of my nephew and niece, and it's a 2-hour drive in either direction. And I have to get up early in the morning on Monday for something, so I'm not quite sure if I can make it, but I will try my best. And it's always so much fun to stream and talk and chat with you guys and show you what I've been working, and then learn new stuff from you in the chat. So I'm always super grateful that you are here and that I can do these things. Limonade says Bethesda's repeatable quests are called Radiant. Oh yes. I instead of Radiant, I was thinking of Radiation, and I mean those Radiant quests are like radiation hell. Yeah, because it took me way too long. I thought, my God, it's a Bethesda side quest. Some of them are good, but many of them are just, yeah, okay, it's just go there, shoot everyone, and return, right? And I thought, maybe they have like 40 of these quests, and once I'm done with them, then I get, I don't know, a nice piece of equipment or an achievement and be done with it. And like I said, I played like dozens of them until I realized, wait, this is just the settlement I came back from. Well, whatever, maybe it's just, like I said, just a number of them that I need to do, like a 64 or some power of 2 number. Yeah, Radiant quests. Yeah, and same thing is happening now with the Brotherhood of Steel. So technically, I don't know the story of the synths of the Institute, but I think I have visited some places that are important for the main story, and even have some clues that I can find, but certain doors were just unopenable. That's also classic Bethesda, so I have to probably just play and get the main story to a point where I can go through that freaking door. Yeah, I don't know if that will happen again, because now that I'm thinking of it, it sounds a little bit tedious to get back into it, and also get reacquainted with all the different types of ammo and my equipment, because that's the hardest part I've noticed when coming back to an RPG, especially when you're also relatively in the late game and they changed a lot of things. With Cyberpunk, I just logged on and the game said, yeah, we changed something with all the skills and the perks. You have to redistribute them from 0 again. And I thought, thank you. I have no idea what my build before was and how it was how its interplay was with all the weapons that I have. So I just did something where I thought, yeah, probably should. I think I was a hacker, so spend my skills there. And then I have an inventory full of weapons, which also I don't know what I use them for. So maybe that's also on me why I'm not able to finish this arena fight, because I played as a hacker. And again, it's a game that forces a certain playstyle onto you. And if there are many enemies coming from all sides, you can't just hunker down and hack from stealth and just wait it out, because this was my cyberpunk build. So yeah, never mind. Quick, another settlement needs your help. And with that, I probably have to go, because, as you said, I've heard that another settlement needs my help. Oh God, that's not really good quest design. By the way, I'm looking forward to playing Starfield, but at the same time, I'm dreading to play Starfield, because what I played was I visited Earth, I visited the moon, and I was a bit disappointed, even angry at Bethesda, because when you visit Earth, there's just this one huge monument and just a couple of procedural stuff. And I feel like Bethesda does not know what makes their games special, what made Skyrim so magical. It was, you're through a world that's has interesting biomes where everything, you wouldn't know what happens after you turn a corner, or you mount a crest, and then you see how the landscape is laid out in front of you, and then you see, oh, there are ruins there, there's a viaduct there, there's maybe a settlement, there's a strange looking tree, and you get all these things that you feel like, okay, this is interesting, and you get sidetracked. And with Starfield, it's like, okay, these are the planets that you can go. It's like, okay, just fast travel to the planet. There's nothing to the left and nothing to the right. Okay, there are random planets, but they feel like random and procedural. And at a certain point, I felt like, okay, if Bethesda did not spend the effort to manually design these things, and it's the same robot creating or robot producing factory that I've seen on 3 other planets, if they don't put in the effort to make these things, why should I put in the time as a player to explore them? Okay, maybe I do this like 10 or 12 times where I'm kind of fully exploring a planet, but at a certain point, I really feel like I've been cheated of my Bethesda open world experience. And this is why I feel a bit duty bound to play Starfield, because I bought into the hype and I feel like I have to play it. But yeah, I will play the shorter games like the Invincible before, probably. Anyway, maybe there's a mod that turns those off. I think there is. Probably one of the first mods that just disables all the Radiant quests, that I can tick them off in my quest log. Crazy Poo says, I don't think Brotherhood of Steel has mandatory raiden quests. Or main quests should be mostly set locations, if you're worried. Okay, good. The thing is just, I don't care much for the Brotherhood of Steel, but I mean, usually when I'm 100%ing Bethesda games, it's like I'm trying to join every faction one after the other, if it's possible, or then use save games and just join the other faction and do those things to get the most out of it. And yeah, and I don't think that I will be doing this with Starfield. Anyway, so I'm bad at wrapping things up, so this is what I'm trying to do now. Thank you so much, as always. Have a wonderful week. Have a wonderful time of day wherever you are. For me, it's, like I said, 3:30 in the morning, so I don't know what I will be doing today. Maybe something chill, maybe playing a bit of the Invincible. Anyway, it has been a pleasure, my dear friends. Hope you sleep well. Whenever this will maybe, have a wonderful night, and maybe I see you on Sunday. All right then, bye-bye and take care, friends.